need my headphones. Pull my hair out of my ears. Pull your hair out of your ears. I know I'm early. It's just because I felt like it. I'm sorry. Yeah, good morning. Good morning. Good Wednesday morning. The earth says hello. Let's make sure the lounge music isn't playing. Because I can't always hear it. It is playing. You little bitch. How come I can't hear it? That's what I wonder. What am I doing wrong? Everything seems to be plugged in where it's supposed to be plugged. I don't get it. I don't get it. So good morning, good morning, good morning, good Wednesday. Good Wednesday to you, sir and ladies, he, she's, and theys. I can't wait till gender is gone. I cannot wait until gender isn't a thing. I really can't, because it is a construct, and frankly, I think it just, I would rather we just express ourselves how we want to express ourselves, and then we go from there. So I don't like this middle part. Hi, Oomph. I don't like this middle part when we're waiting for social change to really happen. I'm ready to get to the part where it's accepted and we're just past it. We're past gender. Well, that's not going to happen right away. So we've got some people pretty entrenched in their beliefs. I was just watching 2 of them this morning against my better judgment. So sometimes I watch Chicks on the Right. And Chicks on the Right is a YouTube show with 2 women. And it's been going for a while now, I think. I think I've heard of them for a long time. Anyway, it's these 2 women. And one of them is really, plays like really stupid and goofy. And the other one plays more like resting bitch face and bitch words. And she has fun with her name because her name is Daisy, I think. But she spells it Day-Z, just like Jay-Z, because she thinks it's funny. I don't know why. Anyway, this morning, they were, it's hard to watch them, and I actually don't watch them because they're just so stupid, and I'm blocked from their chat, so I can't say anything, and that's really frustrating. So, but this morning, they were talking about Kamala Harris, of course. And basically, Daisy, I just put a clip out, a little bit of it, but she went on, and she basically focused on the trope that Kamala somehow slept her way to the top, which is not an uncommon thing to be thrown at women, mostly. I guess this really just makes me angry. I'm going to tell you, it just makes me really angry because, you know, for the longest time in the 80s and the 90s, you know, I, in my financial services company, I moved up pretty, like over 5 years or so, which actually isn't fast. So I'm not really sure why everybody was upset. But, you know, I moved up and it was constant. It was constantly a judgment of whether or not you were doing something you shouldn't. And so I have a particular sensitivity to that, to attacking women because somehow they used their vagina to get advanced in their career. And that's just fucking bullshit. And I'm really tired of that aspect of it. And I thought we were somewhat moved beyond. Good morning, Lee. But we're not. And what I fear with how do I sleep your way to the top of a statewide election? I don't know. Well, I mean, it all stems from the San Francisco and when Willie Brown was mayor and all that shit. So, which Willie Brown was a jerk. and a womanizer, and he was a dick. But I don't know. I just feel like this is absolutely one of the most disgusting fucking aspects of this, and it just particularly bothers me, and that's I need to kind of get over it, I guess, a little bit. I mean, you know. But anyway, so this morning they were talking about the fact that the Obamas waited because they think that she's a, quote, a dirty hoe. That's what she called the vice president. A dirty hoe. And so, yeah, Daisy of Chicks on the Right, you're a fucking bitch. You're a fucking cunt. You're jealous, obviously, of women who hold themselves and create things and are stronger than you. And you're pathetic. And I think that's the part you hate the most, Daisy, is that you're never going to have the class. It's this woman, Daisy. I'll show you them because they're fucking assholes. Anyway, they're, pundits, I guess. I don't know.
God, I'm very worried about who is handling him.
Yeah, this is the worst.
And you'll see more of why that is, because her night last night could not have gone any better, honestly, except for this weird
very
thing
mad.
that she did with the whole, I'm going to just create a new accent to pander. This is the last clip that we'll show from the rally, but this is like where it got ridiculous.
Thank you. And you all helped us win in 2020, and we're going to do it again in 2024. Yes, we will.
What's with the voice?
Yes, we will.
2024.
Why does she do that with her voice?
This is what they do their whole show.
I'm serious. Why does she do that?
This is what they do.
I'm asking that. It's a legit
question.
She changes her voice depending on what audience.
The misogyny has just begun.
Well,
yeah, it was this
Clinton
Daisy
person.
Hillary
Clinton used to do that.
Of a different.
Remember when she would talk to like a Southern audience? She would do the whole like.
Okay. Well, anyway, let me show you this part.
About the
CCP propaganda is what they're engaging
Oh, this
in.
I
That's
like.
the level we're at. It's so gross, and if you can't see it, I can't help you with your stupidity. I can't.
Happily, you're about to see somebody with blue hair speak some sense. And I was not expecting to see someone who looks like this person does to make so much sense. But,
Good morning, butterflies.
Surprise me every
You know who
single
Daisy is.
day.
If Donald Trump gets elected, it's a threat to our democracy. Right. But your Democratic government just putting somebody in the Democratic spot to race for the presidency without y'all choosing them is not okay. And not just that. It's somebody that y'all did not want back in 2020. But now all of a sudden, y'all are just like, okay, woo.
Hear all about it right here.
introducing else for today, and that's why.
Anyway, so
and that there was going to be a lot that we had to talk about
this
with respect
bitch,
to this
I
ad
hate her.
and the rally itself.
This
is for real.
vile,
gaslit
sad
plenty, but
woman.
not like this.
On the border, the choice is simple.
Okay, listen. Now they're upset. This is this part. I know. They're upset that she's put out a border ad, right? And basically, in the ad, she the campaign describes the fact that she, part of the administration, agreed to the border bill that Lankford drove through, and now these two hags are basically saying, how dare she say she's stronger on the border? And that's a lie. That's a lie. Trump wasn't even in office. So they're completely ignoring the fact that Trump actually was the one publicly who shut down the negotiations on the border bill. And so these two Leni Riefenstahl wannabes are doing their bestest to promote disinformation and propaganda. So that's what they are. And we don't like them. And I hate them. But anyway, yeah. So I don't know. You're right. You're very right that I probably shouldn't watch it. I don't know why. I usually can't watch like I can't watch like big clips at once. I usually can only do like one or two at a time. so 1 or 2 minutes at a time. And then I want to comment so badly, obviously, and then I can't. So, blocking people does help because it really frustrates them when they want to say something and they can't. And so I think it's like confirmation that blocking people actually does work because it makes them mad. It makes me mad, so it must make other people mad too. I'm trying to find the campfire. Hold on. Oh, there it is. There we go. I know, if I can't troll them, fuck them. Right, Max? Like, God damn it. Fuck. If I can't, and I'm not going to sit there and create a bunch of alts because frankly, I don't have time. I'm already ignoring the things that I should be doing. I'm not going to create more time of doing things that just make me angry. A lot of wasted time on chuds. Oh my God. Butterflies and Max, we have wasted so much time. But I do feel like what it's given us. Okay, so I'm gonna paint the bright side for you, right? All you chud watchers, and you know who you are. You know who you are. I know you did. I know, Max. You were in there, not quietly, providing fact after fact after fact in the chats, and they would immediately ban you. It was not, we tried, and then you tried pointing and laughing. Yeah. I mean, because then it's like nothing gets through, right? So I think, though, here's my bright side. Okay, get ready. My bright side is that because we watched the convoy and the chuds, as we call them, try and convoy across America and do something. You're shirt people? I'm not a shirt person. I wasn't part of BTM. So I was always like excluded from I think Telescope would always like say something stupid, nasty to me. So I never felt like I was I wasn't part of BTM. They were definitely doing they were in contact more often than I was with them. Let's put it that way. I had my other watching group that I was hanging out with. Anyway, the point is that I think here's the bright side. Now we understand those folks. Now, not that that's a helpful set of information to have. I'm just saying we have a set of information. You made the shirt too, Max? Well, actually, that's kind of cool if you think about it. At least something is memorialized. I'm trying to make it better. I don't think anyone was asked if they were going to be on the shirt, right? So what we're talking about is there was a particular YouTube channel called Behind the Mirror, BTM. And it was just a conglomeration of trolls, really, from different parts of watching this U.S. convoy go across the United States and then come back. So there would be a bunch of people who would just naturally find each other because we would be in these different channels of truckers and drivers and mocking them. And then BTM had a YouTube channel where people could literally go in and it was just a 24-hour chat. And then there was a Discord and it was pretty active and all that kind of stuff. So at the end of all of this, watching the convoy and all that, the BTM folks decided to create a shirt of the most of the members, I guess, or the frequent chatters of BTM, right? The people who are frequently part of the Discord or part of the chat. And so some of us made the back of the shirt because whoever decided to put the names on the shirt, whatever. And some of us did. I didn't make it. And I didn't think I was going to make it because, frankly, I didn't spend that much time on BTM. Again, because I didn't think Telescope didn't like me, and I didn't really like him. So, so there's that. Where's my damn shirt? Did you get a shirt? You didn't even get a shirt, Butterflies, and you're on the back of it? That's fucked up. Uh-oh. Emotional week. Found out my cousin-in-law dropped dead at work yesterday. Easily. She was the girl next door. Started dating cousin at 13, married at 19, still married, just moved to Florida. Oh, easily. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh, I don't want to ask too many questions about whether you'll be traveling or anything like that, but I just want to give you as much love as possible. I'm so sorry. Rest in peace. It's such a terrible thing when, like, it's just such a loss. I'm sorry. If there's anything I can do, just DM me or something, okay? If you just need to yell at someone or something, I'll be here. I think you have, make sure you have my email easily. Pepper, my love Pepper. BTM was a very odd space, but it loomed large in the minds of the convites. It sure did, and it does. It was definitely a gathering place for the most successful trolls of that movement. So yeah, it was definitely a gathering. It was an odd space, but it was very, it worked. It did what it was supposed to do. Definitely got under the skin of the MAGA. Gosh, easily, my love. Shock, a good way to go, but really sucks for family. No time to say goodbye. It's absolutely tragic. Absolutely tragic. And I understand what you're saying. You never want to see anyone suffer through illness or etc. And yet, it just all feels inexplicable, I'm sure. Inexplicable. So, I'll be thinking about your family. Sending them a big hug. Well, let's be grateful. Let's be grateful. Grateful for the consternations and the annoying Republican hags. Let's be grateful for all of that, because what happens when we're here, this big blue marble, you know how I feel about that. You have one trip. Make it work. Make it fun. Make it good. Make someone else's day. So, wow. Well, it's precious. Everything about every consciousness moment is precious. It really is. That's what I feel about that. Well, in her memory, we move forward. Yesterday was quite, I feel like the external news to our personal lives, while our personal lives are fraught with a lot of push and pull, the external world is also having its moment. Let's get happy. Go Kamala. Yeah. No, it's really it kind of is a backdrop, when we have personal loss or success or whatever is happening, there's this backdrop of what's happening in the world. And yesterday with the assassination of Hania, I can't remember how to say his name. Good morning, Julie. How are you? Good morning. Welcome. Got your coffee or your tea or your water or your vodka? I don't know. Whatever you have, I'm not judging. I'm not judging. I'm not going to judge. But yeah, we had the assassination of the Hamas political leader yesterday in Tehran, which seems like seems crazy, I think. Political violence is never the answer, LOL. It probably isn't. I mean, really, is this going to help? I don't know. Does it help? But it's sure odd that they could kill someone sitting in a whatever, wherever they were staying. Literally, what I heard from the AP is that weed. Yes, weed is important, and I don't have mine right by me yet. What was interesting, I think, is that someone could figure out how to drop I don't know, did they kill him with a missile? I'm not even really sure. But anyway, I heard this morning something stupid about a remote control gun. I don't even know. It's so dumb. But anyway, so how does that happen? How do you have probably a guy that was pretty well protected because they probably had heightened security because of the swearing in of the new Iranian whatever president. Weed and coffee. Here. Yeah. What I say? Yeah. Lookner. That's what. Yes, me too. Like around midnight, he was like, "Oh, I don't know." But good for him. A drone. Yeah. So how? Okay, but listen. Okay, stay with me on this. How, if we can't do other things, like we can't find the hostages and we can't stop bombing Gaza, or we can't stop bombing children's hospitals in Gaza because we were looking for weapons, right? How can you be so good at something and then be so shitty at something else? Let's think. When Kamala wins, they are going to try all the stuff. Yes, they are. What worries me is if they successfully challenge the result up to SCOTUS, we're fucked. Absolutely. And here's the thing. I do think, well, okay, I don't think. I hope. The hospitals are never an accident. That's right. They are never an accident. So why are they so good at killing a fucking protected dude in the middle of a fucking inauguration for a bunch of other protected dudes? How come they get that right in the worst conditions, probably, right? The worst condition. They can go into Gaza. They can see what's happening in Gaza. They can't go to Tehran. The Israeli can't go to Tehran. I do not think Americans will roll over and accept SCOTUS handling. I don't think so either. I think actually I am very, very happily surprised by the overwhelming response to a Kamala Harris candidacy, and I'm delighted that people are excited by it, because there is a lot that can be done when we're excited about an administration. Seems like a motivation problem. Yeah, it does seem like a motivation problem, doesn't it, Kathy? Good morning, Kathy. It seems like a motivation problem, like basically they're doing what they want. And that's what, I don't know what Kamala's meeting with Bibi was like, but I certainly fucking hope that we force him to stop bombing Gaza. I'm sorry. Stop. Use your technology for what you should be using it for. Find your people. That's fine. Find your people. Go in and get them. We would do that. And if it were my kid, I'd want him to go do that. But just go do it. You have the capability. You've just proven to us you killed a guy in the middle of fucking Tehran. You've proven to us you can find people in adverse conditions. So fucking do your job and stop killing children in Gaza. I'm done. And I hope with this administration, they will feel the heat to end this in a way that preserves some life. Please. I don't know. That's what I think. God damn. So yeah, I think, and I think Kamala's candidacy is absolutely drawing out the pus, if you will, sorry for that visual, of people's hate. And so hopefully we can clean up the wound of people's hate and they can go off and do their whatever. They can be grumpy, in their meetup group. They can be grumpy at Applebee's on Sunday, okay? After they go to fake church and they say fake prayers, they can go to their brunch at Applebee's and be real mad about the black lady. Looks like they went around Bibi and ended the attempted genocide themselves. What do you mean? Who? Who went around Bibi? Mossad? You mean? I doubt it. I don't think anyone does anything in that country without Bibi approving it, frankly. I don't know. But I don't know. I'm not as well versed in their ins and outs of political gaming. So I can't really say. I can only say from what I see on the outside, which is admittedly quite little. But this is an opinion show. With opinions. Like assholes. We've got a lot of opinions. I've got a lot of assholes. I guess I don't. I only have one asshole, but maybe a lot of bad opinions come out of it. I don't know. Oh, wait. We have another. I'm so dumb. There is a hearing today. Hold on. I did have something planned for us. I promise. Let me see what it was. What was it? What was it? I don't know. I thought it was something. And now, because I watch this Tommy Robinson stuff, the stuff from the UK, Southport and all this stuff, I'm getting all these British, like, frickin', chuds. I'm getting all the British chuds now. It's really depressing, actually. Julie, my phone froze on the way on the trail. Sorry, I didn't mean to send that. That's okay. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, I don't know. I think that I'm not sure. Well, it's not going to end the genocide. This assassination is not going to end the genocide. That's for sure. But I don't know. I'm just wondering what. It's fine, and no problem. We can have different opinions. By the way, I'm not shutting down people's necessarily opinions on that. But I just feel like all things are pointing to Bibi needs cover, right? Bibi needs cover. He's in trouble in his own country. And I know British chuds are almost worse. Okay. Almost. Well, no, they're not. Okay. They sound a little tiny bit smarter. Well, not really, but you know what I mean. Different accent. But what was I going to say? Oh, shit. Oh, yeah. I can't remember. Well, anyway. What are you playing with? It's so loud. He's playing with plastic. My cat is playing with plastic. It's very loud. Anyway, so yeah, I'm getting a bunch of British chuds, but I thought there was.
Flights.
Ah!
Not only, I mean.
That is too loud. You're too loud, sir. Let's see. And there's this channel that has North Korean TV. It's so funny. It's not funny, but it is kind of funny. Is everybody watching the Olympics? I would finish the thought by saying that there is fear now that was not there before. Oh, interesting. Hi, Badger. Badger, where have you been? Bye, Lee. Have a great day at work. Be back. Okay, good. Scare me. What scares you? They probably have better basic education. They do. But it goes to show that just because you have access to a decent education, it doesn't mean you're going to be a decent person. That's right. Because you can still be a shite. You can still be a bit of a shite. You're a bit of a shite. All right, let me see. Because I thought I had something planned for this morning, but I don't know. Hold on. I did, didn't I? I'm so dumb. But I don't mean to be. I really don't. Let's see. What did I say I was going to do? Featuring documents. Oh, okay. Did I put any actual description in there? Oops. Oh, God. I hate this fucking thing. Reload. Let me see. What's the description? Oh, Jack's appeal. Oh, okay. Yeah, I know what I had then. All right. Sweet. I know what I was going to do. Now I know what I was going to do. Happy for Japan dominating the gold medals. Well, good. I haven't watched. Okay, I watched a little bit of the women's gymnastics. Bobo's been watching. Bobo's been doing she's been doing a thing. But I'm just seeing if there's any. I gotta give it to Steve, what's his name? Lookner on Agenda Free Television. He's really trying to cover like all this breaking news, and I give him shit because he is dumb about topics. Like he doesn't know about something like the basics. He doesn't know the basics of a lot of these situations. But I admire him trying to bring people information as dispassionately as possible. He doesn't always get it right, but I never get it right probably. So I don't know. I can't really hate on him that much, but I am glad he does what he does. I wish I could do something like that, but I don't think I would. I wouldn't be reliable. So yeah. Beep, beep, beep. Okay, so what I was gonna do today was go through some of the Florida case, believe it or not. I know. Oops, that's not it. Because Jack did a thing. Wait. That's the dismissal. Okay. Oh, yeah. I wanted to go through the dismissal because we didn't read the dismissal. Did we? Did we read the dismissal? I don't think I did. Reliability isn't a great metric. Right. Exactly. Well, yes. Yeah. But he's women's rugby. Oh, my God. The women's rugby. I love it. I love rugby, first of all. And Bobo was like, this is amazing. So, yeah, it is amazing. Okay. Did we read this, though? Now I can't even remember. Did we read this? Oh, my God, I'm so embarrassed. How do I not know? The 93-page dismissal, did you read some? Did we watch someone else talk about it? God damn, I think I probably did, didn't I? Damn. Fuck. Stupid. Okay, well, hold on. Hold on. What's this one? Leave to file brief as MEG. No, that's not it. That's not it. What's this? Supplement to reply in support of motion. Well, that's not a kind of a dumb thing. Do 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 do. Let's go to the court listener then. I think I did. I'm not gonna overdo it. But I did want to go to, where's this? Receipt, transition, da-da. What's this? What's this? What's this? What's this? What's this? What's this? Is this? Oh, this is just the notice of appeal. So the notice of appeal was filed on July 17th. I just want you to know. La 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 la. Ugh, it's too many attachments. Da 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 da. Do 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 do. Where's the original indictment? Because the thing about the appeal. Damn. Oh, really? Last. Give me the last page. That's a lot of documents. That's a lot of documents. That's a lot of documents. Is there a men's event of gymnastics dancing with playground balls? I don't know. Is there? There's break dancing. I didn't get to see the break dancing yet. I think it's happening soon. Motion, 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 motion. Oh my God. Scanned. We don't have like a real. Jesus Christ. Well, I guess I could read it. So, is there a men's gymnast? Okay, Cannon will lose her position. Yeah, she will. You're right, easily. You're absolutely right. Gosh, I did read the 93-page dismissal, didn't I? Did I? I must have. There's no way I didn't read this. Yeah, no, I read this. Well, anyway, okay. Well, then let's do something else. Rhythmic gymnastics. I think that is only women. But it shouldn't be, because men dance too. I mean, I thought rhythmic gymnastics was with the streamers and bunting. This was a ball. But no, I think the ball is part of it, though. I think there's a few tools, a few implements. And the U.S. gyms, no spoilers. No, I'm just kidding. Well, unfortunately, we're going to go over the New York Times because I'm lazy. So there you go. Okay, wait. Bleep, blop, bloop, bleep, bloop. I think, oops. Well, that's probably helpful. Former head of IDF Intel, Yadlin Amos, just briefed journalists that Hezbollah commander Fuad Shukr was assassinated in his lover's Beirut apartment. Ooh. What do you mean? He was dating someone and I'm single? What the fuck? I'm just kidding. I don't want to be killed in my apartment. Well, of course, I'm not going to be like trying to run any countries either. He had a lover. I don't have a lover. That guy had a lover. Jesus Christ. Rhythmic gymnastics is a sport in which gymnasts perform with an apparatus, hoop, ball, clubs, ribbon, and rope. The Beirut assassination got the target too. I know. So is this even? Even Steven? Are we even Steven now? Oh, no, wait, we're not because that's 2 for Israel. Sorry. Most expensive booty call ever, Michael Weiss. Well, I'm still hung up on the fact that, worldwide criminals are having more sex than I am. That's what I think about that. Oh my God. Can't wait until people fire dancing makes it into the Olympics. I did that once in Liberia on a beach. I twirled fire. I have a picture of myself. I have a picture of myself. twirling fire. I was standing on an overturned like fishing boat, you know. They have those big canoes they go out and fishing in. So they turn them over on the beach when they come in from fishing. And so you can stand on top of them. And so I stood on top of one and I was like twirling fire. And I made like a heart. I have a picture of it. I should find that. Okay, well, we will. Okay, yes. Okay, I'm going to find it. Hold on. I'm going to find it. I'm going to show you. You can't really tell it's me. That's the problem. Hold on. I should pick up some pictures from Africa to show you. I wonder, I'm sure they're really far back. Oh my God, it's been like 10 years since I've been to, I think I was there in 2015. Maybe I was there in 2015. Oh yeah, I was there in 2015. It was in 2014. Hold on. I'll show you. Man, what the fuck? I need to go to years. Where's years? Where's years? Featured photos. What the fuck? Who cares about that? See all. Can't you go like by time? I thought you could go by time. Oh wait, here we go. Years. There we go. Okay, so I need to go to 2015. Oh no, it's not March. It's later. Oh wow, I don't have any. Oh, this is a new phone. That's why. Damn it. Dang it. Here's one of my favorite pictures that I put in my phone. That's one of my favorite pictures. I hate everyone. I love her. I love her. I love her so much. Anyway. Damn, I can't find any of... Where's my Africa photos? I'll have to go to Google Drive. I'm going to do a slideshow. I'm going to do a slideshow tomorrow. I'm going to do a slideshow tomorrow of pictures I can show you from me in Africa. How about that? But Ghoul Lookner kept posting polls. Will this lead? Okay, yes. Okay, oomph. I saw that. Walking on nails is a great sport. Yeah, did the lovers survive? I mean, were they en flagrant? Were they amidst coitus? I mean, what? Lookner is awful. I don't watch him. I know. The thing is, Kathy, he's taken on a big task. I think he kind of overshot. Oh, I know. You get lost in the chum there. You can't comment. And if you do say something not nice or correct him, you get attacked by his fans. They're rabid. His Lookner fans are absolutely, they take no prisoners. They draw blood. They draw first blood. And just, why would you ask that? Why would you ask that? Why would you ask a bunch of fucking internet trolls if this is going to lead to war? Are they all of a sudden working for the Institute for the Study of War? Whatever? Is that what it is now? Or walking on coals? Yeah, when I was a stupid kid and my dad dumped the coals after cooking, I tried walking on them. Oh no! Butterflies! Is that supposed to be like special fire that you walk on? It's not the regular old fire? Beirut is a really cool city. Is it? I've heard Beirut is a really beautiful city. Hope he sent the Venmo before he was shot easily. You guys are so much. You're so funny. Oh my God. I know, he did. He kept posting polls about whether or not this would lead to war. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Who are you talking to? Who are you asking? Who exactly is going to tell you something normal. Oh my God. Who? Yeah. So he bothers me. Why is it only men that fall for honey traps? They don't. Women fall for them too. Absolutely. Are you kidding me? You just don't hear about it that often. I don't know. Patriarchy. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because men have all the money and all the power. No, I'm just kidding. Because and because it's a time-tested way to get what you want. Your husband is probably a honey trap, Kathy. I married my honey trap. Wah, wah. What do I do now? I've been married to my honey trap for 30 years because women can get sex whenever they want it. It's true. It's true. It's true. It's true. We were watching Love Island last night. and we were remarking on this very phenomenon that basically, like, because the couples, okay, I'll just set the stage for you. The couples in Love Island have really formed in the season that we're watching, which is the current season of Love Island USA. The couples have formed, like they have, a couple of them formed like super deep connections, and you actually think, oh, these guys are going to be like boyfriend and girlfriend when they get off the island, that kind of thing. Well, okay, last night they split them all up and gave them new girls and boys to be with, right? They call it like a Casa Amor thing. It's so dumb. But anyway, I watch it so you don't have to. So they split them up and they introduce new men and women into each group of men and women so that they, are flirting with new people. But these are people who have already like established some pretty close relationships. A couple of them haven't, but for the most part, some pretty solid couples in there. But now they moved the men from Love Island to another house and introduced a whole bunch of new women. And then the women stay at the one house, and then they introduce a whole bunch of new men. And then what happens is, so they spend a week, like, with their new friends. And then the guys who have gone to this Casa Amor then come back, and either they bring the girl back that they met at the new place as their new girlfriend, or they come back alone wanting to be with the woman they were with originally in Love Island, right? And then the women, because the new men have come in, if the guy comes back from Casa Amor and sees that the woman he was with before is with a new guy and he's not with a new girl, it's all sad, right? So that's and we were like, oh my God, we thought that this person and this person on the old island were super like solid, like they were gonna get married and they're perfect and blah blah blah. And then the dude goes over to Casa Amor and just starts dry humping, the first woman that pays attention to him. And we're like, oh, that's terrible. And then I basically said to Bobo, I'm like, listen, dudes are wired, that there's a wiring differently in terms of wanting to have sex with anything you see. It doesn't really matter. And that's just different. And so you're right, Max. Women could probably have sex anytime they want, just because there's always a guy that's wanting, that it's like an urge, right? Or something. I don't know. Jesus fucking Christ. I know. Well, I'm trying to turn my brain off. Everybody wants me to turn my brain off of chuds, so I watch stupid television. Okay, anyway. And hilarity ensued. No, I don't know. And we don't know. We don't know if when, I don't know. I'm going to let you know if this guy comes back with his new squeeze. And because the other girl, the one couple that's like super solid, that the guy is like dry humping everyone, or this one girl in the other place. The other girl that he left behind, she's like I love him. I can't even flirt with you, with the new guy, because she's talking to one of the new guys, and she's like, I can't even flirt with you because I really feel so connected to this other person. And and so she is basically keeping herself separate until her boyfriend from the other island comes back. But he's probably going to come back with this other girl, and then she's going to be like, oh. So I don't know that. I actually, he probably won't. He probably will dump that girl and come back to his girl. I have known a couple of women who were wired differently, enjoyed male gay porn and random hookups. I mean, yeah, and all people all have different approaches to sex. What? I'm begging you. What? Stop? What, Badger? What? You telling me to stop? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I watch some trashy television sometimes. I don't know. It's funny. It turns my brain off. Then I can think about, oh my God, will Kaylor and Aaron stay together, or will Aaron bring home Tammy or whatever her name is? I'm begging you. Stop. Stop. I'm telling you, it's really fraught, man. I'm like, there's going to be actual tears if that guy comes back with another girl. I'm going to feel for Kaylor. She's standing by her man, and he's out there doing the deed. It's terrible. Terrible. Yeah, I got a text. Thank you, Carla. Thank you for seeing me. I appreciate you. I got a text. It's an op. It's definitely. Are you kidding me? Oh, they don't even have to hide it. It's definitely an op. And it worked on me. Oh my God, where's my weed? Ah! Is this? I don't know. There's nothing in there. I have all these empty weed things. Is there anything in here? No, not really. Where's all my weed? Where's mommy's weed? Well, I don't know. Where is it? I don't know if this is. Oh, I know. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. Oh, and if you didn't see, first of all, I love Megan Thee Stallion. I love Megan Thee Stallion so much that I can't even tell you how much I love Megan Thee Stallion. I really do. Do women on the show say bye 10 times in a row? What do you mean? My brain turn off fare tends to run to trashestic movies. Totally. Yeah, you are definitely the queen of B movies too, Max. You know all the good B movies. So, yeah, that. And you know what? My trash also is other things. I do listen to music. I do other things. So please don't think that I spend all my time on trash TV, because I don't want you to think that about me. I don't want you to think that about me. I want you to think that I'm pursuing very intellectual pursuits all the time. Being quite serious all the time, yes. That's me. That's me. I'm serious all the time. No, I just pretty much experience whatever comes in front of me. I'm not really. I'm listening as I brush my doggies. And I must say the honkers are a lot less stressful than the political. Yes, the bonkers. Yeah, bonkers. Boinkers. Yes, the boinkers are far less stressful. If I just have to worry about whether Kaylor is going to get her heart broken, I'm in pretty good shape. Then I'm okay. I hope she doesn't. But then again, I don't really care. So, doesn't matter. Anyway, that's the news from Love Island. I gave you the latest update of Love Island. It's amazing. Ignore me for a bit. Girl, Carla, you came in hot. Come on, you came in hot. I don't know about bye 10 times in a row. Bye. Maybe they do. I got a ghost. Okay. Let's see what's going on in the news. Well, I guess Luckner was right. Killing of Hamas leader heightens fear of a regional war. I mean, they say this every time someone gets killed. Okay? I'm going to be honest with you. They say this every time one of these dudes gets killed. They're like, this is going to spark a war. I mean, maybe, but let's try not. Okay? Let's go for no. Okay. 62? Oh my God. He's only 2 years older than me. Strikes in Iran and Lebanon. Reason that war is not inevitable. Analysis. An anal cis. That doesn't prove Luckner right. It just recapitulates exactly the basic speculation he voiced. Yes, it does. You're right. I just want to see if there's anything new. Hamas accused Israel. Okay, here's the latest. Ismail Haniyeh, I'm sorry if I don't say that right. One of the most senior Hamas leaders was assassinated in Iran. The country's Revolutionary Guard Corps and Hamas said on Wednesday, a severe blow to the Palestinian group, blah, blah, blah. Both Iran and Hamas accused Israel of killing Mr. Haniyeh, who led the group's political operations from exile in Qatar. He was in Tehran to attend the inauguration of the newly elected president of Iran, Hamas's main backer, and it was not clear how the killing was carried out. 7 minutes ago. Well, what's that? Oh, that's pinned. Sorry. Israel's foreign ministry said an escalation with the Hezbollah militia in Lebanon could be averted if both sides implemented a never-enforced resolution that the UN Security Council issued in 2006 after the last major war between Israel and Hezbollah. The resolution called for Hezbollah's withdrawal from the Israeli border, among other stipulations. Quote, the only way to prevent an all-out war is the immediate implementation of UN Security Council Resolution 1701, the ministry said in a statement. The official comments coming from Iran, from the Revolutionary Guard's Ayatollah Khamenei, and now Iran's mission to the UN, all say that Iran will retaliate for Haniyeh's killing on its soil, as much for vengeance as to deter future attacks. Its mission to the UN said on social media, quote, the response to the operation will indeed be a special operation, harder and intended to instill deep regret in the perpetrator. Great. That's great. That's just great. That's great. That's just great. I want to see, hold on, I want to see one thing. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do that right now. Let's see if I can find Megan Thee Stallion. Megan Thee Stallion. Oh, here we go. Where is the...
Vice President Kamala.
Okay, wait, I want to show you this. Right. I just like Megan Thee Stallion, so I'm hoping they're going to.
Kamala Harris has made her first trip to Atlanta as a presidential candidate, with a Grammy winner in tow. Rapper Megan Thee Stallion took to the stage to headline Harris's Georgia rally, a state which the Democrats are hoping will swing their way.
Oh, wait, I want you to play her music.
Harris took aim at Donald Trump in front of the cheering crowd,
That's not what I wanted
challenging
you to
him
do.
to a debate.
Come on, that's not what I wanted you to do. Oh, well, here, do this. Yes! Queen! Queen! trying to tell me how to live. If I come across your man in the mall with him, I'm about to have a ball with him. Somebody call Rihanna, ball with him. You never call me. I'm a hot girl. I do hot shit. And you're picked up on my outfit. I don't text quick because I ain't thirsty. You been mad, man. They want to hurt me. I'm a hot girl. I do hot shit. And come on my outfit. Quick because I ain't thirsty. They want to hurt me. Megan Thee Stallion, this was huge. This is huge. This is huge. She is brilliant. Brilliant. I love this song. This is her new song. All right, I don't want to get like totally shut down. I love her. I love her so much. I love her so much. I am so grateful that she did this. We are so lucky she did this. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. I'm so happy. Anyway, I highly recommend. If you didn't see her little set there, I highly recommend it because she's fucking amazing. I just fucking love her. I fucking love her. Yeah, she has 70 million. I mean, I think it's only going to get bigger because if she used Beyonce's song as her come out song in a couple of early ones, I mean, that's huge. And Megan Thee Stallion is so hot right now. I mean, and she's like a legit artist of like, yeah. I love her. I love her. I'm excited to see this campaign. I think I think it's smart to do a high energy. Well, they definitely need to show that they've got like, I don't know, young people. I mean, just something like Hansel's so hot right now. Hanson, Hansel and Gretel, but they have Kid Rock and Lee Greenwood. I know. And what's her name? What's that girl's name? Amber Rose. They have Amber Rose, for crying out loud. No, we are going to have much better music. I can tell. Anyway, I love Megan Thee Stallion. I was so excited to see her yesterday. I just thought we win. Fuck off. We win. Fuck off. Kamala's already the cooler one. It's like now she's even more cool. No. And again, it's, I don't know. I'm happy. I'm happy that she's getting I'm happy that Democracy and her are getting a really good. Oh, her outfit was amazing. Butterflies. Oh my God. It was conservative for her. Yeah, it was. It was. But my God, what a great energy. Oh, geez. Good for her. I'm happy. It's nice to see Democracy getting some real good energy behind it, right? I feel like that is really the key, is that we really can. I don't know. Anyway. Okay, let's look at the other news. Kamala Harris created a huge wave of energy. Okay, fine, whatever. You're trying to kill our buzz, whatever. As Republicans attack Harris here's what her record shows. I kind of want to see this. Republicans blame Kamala Harris for the surge of migrants, but a review of her involvement shows a more nuanced record. As they seek effective attack lines against Vice President Kamala Harris, Republicans are focusing on her role in the Biden administration's border and immigration policies, seeking to blame her for the surge of migrants into the United States over the past several years. A review of her involvement shows a more nuanced record. President Biden did not assign her the job of border czar or the responsibility of overseeing the enforcement policies at the U.S.-Mexico border, as the Trump campaign suggested on Tuesday in its first ad against her. But she did have a prominent role in trying to ensure that a record surge of global migration did not become worse. Well, I mean, because she was trying to work with host countries or source countries. After the number of migrants crossing the southern border hit record levels at times during the administration's first 3 years, crossings have now dropped to their lowest levels since Mr. Biden and Ms. Harris took office, which was in the middle of COVID. When it was low. So if they went back to those levels, they're quite low. Her early efforts at handling her role in the administration's policies were widely panned, even by some Democrats, as clumsy and counterproductive, especially in displaying defensiveness over why she had not visited the border. Some of her allies felt she was being set up to fail. Early in the administration, Ms. Harris was given a role that came to be defined as a combination of chief fundraiser and conduit between business leaders in the economies of Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. Her attempt to convince companies across the world to invest in Central America and create jobs for would-be migrants had some success, according to immigration experts and current and former government officials. But those successes only underlined the scale of the gulf in economic opportunity between the United States and Central America, and how policies to narrow that gulf could take years or even generations to show results. Rather than develop ways to turn away or detain migrants at the U.S.-Mexico border, Ms. Harris's work included encouraging a Japan-based auto parts plant, Yazaki, to build a $10 million plant in western Guatemalan region that sees high rates of migration, and pushing a Swiss-based coffee company to increase procurement by more than $100 million in a region rich with coffee beans. She convened leaders from dozens of companies, helping to raise more than $5 billion in private and public funds. Not a huge amount, but it ain't chicken feed, and that links to jobs, said Mark Schneider, who worked with Latin American and Caribbean nations as a senior official at the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, during the Clinton administration. Jonathan Fantini Porter, the chief executive of the Partnership for Central America, the public-private partnership Ms. Harris helped lead, said the money had led to 30,000 jobs, with another 60,000 on the way as factories are constructed. She also pushed Central American governments to work with the United States to create a program where refugees could apply for protection within the region. Still, some of Harris's critics said her focus on Northern Triangle countries of Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador was a mistake. Most migrants crossing the U.S.-Mexico border during the Obama and Trump administrations did come from those countries, but as migration from that region stabilized during the Biden administration, it exploded from countries like Haiti, Venezuela, and Cuba. The Northern Triangle countries accounted for roughly 500,700 of the 2.5 million crossings at the southwest border in the fiscal year of 2023, a 36% drop from the 2021 fiscal year, according to the Wilson Center. Quote, they didn't care to do a good diagnosis of the issue, and they have just focused on a very small part of the topic, said Guadalupe Correa Cabrera, a political science professor at George Mason University, who has studied Latin American relations and their impact on migration. Ms. Correa Cabrera said that Ms. Harris had failed completely in her mission by following an outdated approach to tackling the root causes of migration. Mr. Biden had had a similar portfolio to Ms. Harris's when he was vice president. He was in charge of addressing the economic problems in Central America by rallying hundreds of millions of dollars of aid for a region where the United States had a complicated legacy. I need a tissue. My nose is ready. Oh my God. Tried ordering a Madam President hat. Sold out. Yee. Oh my God. Yummy. Yummy. What am I doing? Why aren't I smoking more weed? Smoke weed every day. What is it? What is it he says? What is it he says? Where's that? Where's smoke weed every day? Oh, here we go. Here we go. There we go. Wait, is it playing? Oh, no, it's not. Here we go.
Make sure you smoke a sufficient number of joints per day. Make sure you smoke a sufficient number of joints per day. Make sure you smoke a sufficient...
Okay. Oh my God. And how cute is Snoop Dogg and Flava Flav at the fucking Olympics? Can you tell me how cute those guys are? Did you see the little clip of Snoop Dogg and Simone Biles kind of dancing with each other? It was so adorable. I love Snoop. I'm just so happy. If we get like contemporary music artists, you know, like I love our hype dudes. The hype dudes are the best. Oh my God. So fucking cute. I cannot even tell you how adorable. I fucking love those guys. I'm just so happy. I want to see like cool people come out and just be cute. And they have. And I'm here for it. I'm 100% here for it. All right, Mr. Biden. Yes, he did. After helping fuel violent civil wars in the 1980s, the United States retreated before seeing peace reforms through, a move that partly set the stage for the corrupt politicians and criminal groups who would exploit the country's lack of economic opportunities, overwhelm regional police forces, and eventually spur hundreds of thousands of migrants, many of them unaccompanied minors, to make the dangerous trek north. What about all the visits to these countries by Jason Miller? Like, I would like to hear more about what Jason Miller was doing down in Central America, like in when was he there? Like 2021 or something? I don't know. I know. I like Snoop. Yeah, it was cute. This is the universe giving us some joy. Yes. Oh my God. That is such a good way of putting it, Kathy. That, you know, there's a little bit of joy in the universe, and that kind of gets you. It definitely, I'm going to tell you right now, the response to Kamala has energized me. So I'm definitely drawing energy from how excited people are about that. And I hope it maintains, because I'm scared about how much time we have. I almost wish the election was like next week. I feel the same enthusiasm I felt in 2008. Yes. Thank you, Jay Rance. Good morning, my loving bestie. I love you. I love you. Yes, it is. I feel the same way I felt when Obama was running. And here's the thing. The thing about Kamala is she has worked very hard to get here. And I realize that she has been, in the background, and maybe she has problematic, like everybody has some problematic shit. Right? Why didn't Rudy just walk off into the sunset after 9/11 and go out to dinner and get like lauded as America's mayor? He could have had a life of doing that. But no, they want more. And clearly Rudy is a sick individual, so I really hope he sees a fucking jail cell. I really do. I really do. I really need that guy to die in a prison cell. I really do. I'm sorry. I said it. Yeah, it's greed. What was I going to say? Wait, I feel the same enthusiasm. Yes. So yeah, I feel the same. I feel the same enthusiasm. Yeah. But I'm always wary of enthusiasm because it's not voting. Now I want voting. I want us to vote. Okay. Let's continue with our Central American immigration thing. But U.S. foreign aid initiatives have not always worked to deter migration. Over the years, some investments have been mismanaged and prioritized training programs over actual jobs that would keep migrants in their home countries. Former President Donald Trump froze the foreign aid programs in 2019. Oh, there you go. No babbling on and on in a drugged out haze for 2 hours. You call that a rally? I put up a picture side by side of like Megan Thee Stallion on stage and then JD Vance's event. It was pretty funny. It was pretty funny. Hearing in the Senate on the future of EVs. Hi, Paul J. How are you? Is there one? Hold on. Let me find it. Let me entertain you. Let me make you smile. Let me do some new tricks. Something, something, something. And then I'll make you smile again. I don't know. Where is that? Where is it? Let me entertain you. Oh, there it is. There. Shit. Oh, I okay. There is something at what time is that at? 7? What is no? Must be 8. No, it must be 8:30. Trump is speaking to the Association of Black Journalists at 8:30 my time. Let me see. I want to do this. Let me see. Beep, 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 beep. Oh.
Adjacent industries and critical infrastructure in key markets, and engaging in economic coercion and intimidation. Finally, once China has established a near-market monopoly, Chinese firms sell everywhere at a price of their choosing, weaponizing supply chains in their favor.
Silverado Policy Accelerator?
Other nations'
What's the
efforts,
Silverado
not just in strategy,
Policy
but critically
Accelerator?
in scope, scale, and consistency across the entirety of the supply chain. Put simply, China unfairly and illegally subsidizes more programs for more critical nodes over a longer period and with more dollars. The CCP's stated goal is to establish a global monopoly power in all critical industries, and they are well on their way to achieving this end in the EV battery market.
The MAGAs are trying to make a big deal about immigration, but I guess they don't realize that we have an asylum.
Will account for 77% of world demand by 2030. These cheap batteries are no deal. Effectively countering these efforts will require that the United States and market economies deploy coordinated, agile policies at a scale sufficient to correct for the market distortions and to protect U.S. public and private investments in industrial and environmental security.
What's the Silverado thing?
And I remain at your service as you devise policies that can meet this generational challenge. Senators, I thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Ms. Hindman.
Silverado
Next
what?
Mr. Schroeder.
Chairman Whitehouse, Ranking Member Grassley,
what was
Senator
it called?
Graham,
Silverado
members of
what?
the committee. My name is David Schwietert. I'm the Chief Government Affairs and Policy Officer at the Alliance for Automotive Innovation, representing the automakers,
that haircut.
battery suppliers,
Sorry.
and producing most of the vehicles sold in the U.S.
Oh, he's nervous. I'm sorry.
Thank you for the invitation to testify and to share our perspective this morning on the U.S. electric vehicle market and policies to help accelerate this transition. Today, I want to provide the auto industry perspective on the shift towards electrification.
All right, let's
give the committee a status report about not only what's working, but also where there's work to be done. Let's start with this. Electrification is transforming personal mobility. It's rewriting global supply chains, rebuilding domestic industrial base, and creating jobs. An underpinning of the American economy and, of course, our national security in fundamental ways. Today, 113 electrified products, sedans, pickups, utility vehicles, and van models are available for sale in the U.S. This includes battery electric, plug-in hybrid, and fuel cell vehicles. There's also increasingly efficient internal combustion engine technologies, lots of choices in powertrain and vehicle type, something for sale that meets the needs of every customer. Choice is a priority for automakers. Last year, 9.5% of all U.S. light-duty sales were electric or zero emission, up from 2.4% in just 2020. Even with this major momentum, we're in a challenging period, as Senator Graham noted this morning. Yes, the EV market is still growing, but the growth is slowing. One reason, most EV early adopters have already adopted the technology. Spikes in EV demand or choppy growth are certainly not surprising. In our view, this massive transformation is a marathon, not a sprint. Shifting to electric personal mobility requires nothing short of a complete transformation of the global automotive industrial base. And the companies I represent are self-funding this transition and have committed over $125 billion to EV production and battery manufacturing across the country so far. This is expected to create 100,000 jobs at major
Sorry. Oh my God. Sorry. Thank you. Thank you. A bipartisan nonprofit to advancing American prosperity and global. Yeah, exactly, Carla. That's what they are. What the fuck is that? Okay, wait. Silverado. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Our novel policy accelerator model is designed to transform fresh ideas into actionable initiatives, nurturing a new strategic and economic vision from the ground up. We focus on issues where bipartisan convergence creates a real path toward progress, and we sweat the details of implementing effective policy solutions regardless of where they come from. In 3 interconnected areas: trade and industrial security, shaping trade policy to support American workers, secure America's supply chains, and advance equitable trade practices. So America first. Cybersecurity, modernizing America's cyber strategy to enhance deterrence, defend against cyber attacks, and protect intellectual property and national security. EcoSec is foregrounding the nexus of economic and ecological risk and opportunity to meet I don't even know what the fuck that means. Well, so the 3 focal points converge on a single challenge. How will the United States and its allies maintain global leadership and competitiveness in a new era of economic, technological, and strategic competition? No, I don't think they're gas guzzlers. I think they want to control the market. It sounds like the gas guzzlers foregrounding the nexus. I'm foregrounding your nexus, baby. Foreground my nexus. That's sexy. Okay, here we go.
Your facilities in South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, Michigan, Ohio, Kentucky, Kansas,
New York City,
and other states. My written testimony includes a map of these cutting-edge facilities all over the Midwest and Southeast.
Corporate babble.
We're building these vehicles and localizing these supply chains.
I still don't understand what the fuck they do.
But the truth is, these massive capital transformations are huge bets. And they're funded using profits generated from gas-powered vehicles.
But she seems pretty upset.
Automakers know that a shift at this scale won't happen overnight.
Who knows?
This transition takes time and patience. And it's important
I'll tell you what, though, his hair is bothering me, and I want to move it to the side. People think EV is something new.
We cannot get ahead of the
Mine's
customer.
the most
Especially
attention industry in the world have been using electrical trucks. Oh, that makes sense.
Grid capacity.
Coal.
Finding the
coal
right
mining
balance
uses
between
EV.
markets and regulations and policy is absolutely key to remaining globally competitive.
They obscure the flow of funds.
Let me take one observation about supply chains.
Obscure.
This is partially a point about geopolitics, namely China, that controls a vast amount of raw materials and processing capacity for EV batteries.
Yeah.
By 2035, the U.S.
They also are located in a place near the
supply
shit.
gaps in excess of 50% of the needed cathode and anode materials: nickel, cobalt, manganese, and graphite. At the same time, America's allies and rivals are trying to secure the same mineral supplies to support their own electrification goals. Domestic mining and processing facilities
we need to get more minerals
for permitting and development, as well as other obstacles. This is an area where I believe congressional attention and action is needed, and I'm actually pleased to know that this morning the Senate Energy Committee is taking up bipartisan permitting reform legislation. One last point on China and U.S. competitiveness. At the turn of this century, China was manufacturing around 2 million vehicles. Today, they manufacture 30 million vehicles and have capacity for nearly 50 million. Nearly 1/3 of that production last year was for EVs alone. In other words, China is manufacturing EVs equivalent to the entire U.S. manufacturing output. Without question, the future often offers consumers more vehicle choices
Battery
than
producers need to develop tech that isn't reliant on rare earth minerals from China. Hello, thank you, Lee.
Need a shared and a realistic vision of success when it comes to automotive electrification. Regardless of political views or what state you live in, we need an approach in this country that balances emission reductions and consumer choice and expands our industrial base and America's ability to
calling me. I'll be RB.
Thank you, and I look forward to your questions.
Thanks very much. Before I turn to Mr. Davis, an administrative moment to let everybody know that Senator Graham and I are yielding our positions to first Senator Stabenow and then Ranking Member Grassley. So the order at the conclusion of Mr. Davis's 5 minutes will be Stabenow, Grassley, Whitehouse, Graham, Merkley, Braun, at least for openers. Mr. Davis, please proceed.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Ranking Member, Senators, my name is Jeff Davis. I'm a senior fellow at the Eno Center for Transportation. Eno is a 501c3 nonprofit, nonpartisan think tank founded by traffic pioneer William Phelps Eno in 1921. All federal gasoline and diesel fuel tax receipts, along with trucking industry excises, have been deposited in a highway trust fund since 1956 to make it clear that those levies on highway users can only be spent on specific highway programs. Congress has since opened up the trust fund to highway safety and mass transit spending as well. The Highway Trust Fund has been fundamentally insolvent since 2008. Electrification did not start this problem, but it stands to make the problem much worse in the coming years. The state of insolvency is a result of three trends. First, the rate at which driving on U.S. roads increases every year has leveled off. From the 1950s to the end of the 1970s, total vehicle miles traveled, VMT, on American roads grew at a pace to double every 16 years. It slowed so much now the Federal Highway Administration this month projected a future rate at which it would take VMT 140 years to double. Second, taxing the number of gallons of gasoline and diesel fuel used on roads was originally a proxy for taxing VMT. In 1976, the average passenger car on the road burned 7.2 gallons of gasoline for every 100 miles driven. Today, the average passenger car on the road burns 4 gallons of gas every 100 miles. For SUVs and pickups, fuel efficiency has increased from 9.3 gallons per 100 miles in 1976 to 5.6 gallons per 100 miles today. Third, Congress has been unable to either keep trust fund spending constrained to tax receipt levels or else increase tax receipts. Congress has now enacted 5 consecutive multi-year funding bills in which new funding in the final year of each bill was at least 25% above new trust fund taxes and interest. These trends caused the Highway Trust Fund to run out of money in 2008, before the first plug-in EV, and Congress has since provided $272 billion in ad hoc bailouts from the general fund. Now, electrification is having its effects. According to the Congressional Budget Office's June 24 forecast, the number of gallons of gasoline taxed for the Highway Trust Fund will fall from about 138 billion gallons in 2024 to 89 billion gallons in 2034. Annual gasoline tax receipts are projected to drop more than 5% per year starting in 2030. If we combine this newly projected drop in gas tax revenues with currently projected trust fund spending, annual cash deficits in the $13 billion a year range today will jump to an astounding $51 billion deficit in 2034, a decade from now. Because the trust fund used to be solvent on a user pay basis and for other historical reasons, trust fund spending is exempt from most of the restrictions and controls in federal spending written into the Budget Act and subsequent process statutes in this committee's jurisdiction. If one were to try to fix that projected $51 billion trust fund deficit in 2034 solely by increasing gasoline taxes, and let me emphasize, absolutely no one is advocating this, the current 18.3 cent per gallon gasoline tax to the trust fund would need to be increased by about 58 cents per gallon to a total tax of about 76 cents per gallon of gasoline. There are alternatives to motor fuel taxes that could continue the user pay, user benefit paradigm that underlies federal trust funds, which I address in my written testimony, but none are nearly as easy to administer as the gasoline tax. Going from fuel to vehicle as the subject of taxation means going from about 1,300 points of collection of gasoline taxes and diesel taxes to 279 million points of collection, which is the number of registered private vehicles in the U.S. in 2022. Taxing vehicles will be over 200,000 times as much work for the IRS as taxing motor fuel. In short, if rapid decarbonization of highway transportation is to be a federal policy goal, Congress should carefully consider whether and how to replace the fossil fuel-based highway user taxes that currently support highway and mass transit spending with some other revenue source. Thank you, and I look forward to your questions.
Thanks very much. And I will now turn to the distinguished senator from Michigan, who I think knows and cares more about the auto industry than pretty much anybody around here.
Well,
Senator
thank
Stabenow.
you so much, Mr. Chairman, and Senator Graham, who I know cares passionately about manufacturing. We share that. in common. And I could talk all day. I won't. I know I don't have all day to talk about this. But let me first start by saying that no one is forcing Americans to buy electric vehicles, but I have one. Nobody forced me to get it. My price didn't go up with the tax credits. Unfortunately, the latest round of tax credits is so complicated and limiting that it's certainly not helping as much as it could help. But I will say the biggest issue is charging stations, and I'm about to test that again. I mentioned to the chairman, I haven't driven my car from here to Michigan in about a year, and I'm going to test it again to see how many more charging stations we have to be able to get me back to Michigan in a couple of days. I do want to emphasize, though, and I've said this before, in 1917, when Congress began heavily subsidizing oil production because of fines down in Texas, we didn't have gas stations on every corner either. And in fact, at the same time, Henry Ford and Thomas Edison were working to develop a battery-operated car, but they had no subsidies. So Congress picked a winner, and they won for over 100 years, and now we're trying to expand this out. And I would say also, Senator Graham, I agree with you. We have a lot of issues. And I guess what I would say is I think we know more of what the answers are. We just need to do it. And then we need to find out where we need to know more about this. But chargers, we know we need more charging stations. Electric grid capacity, absolutely. Both of those things are beginning to happen. We're investing in that through the bipartisan infrastructure bill, more usable consumer credit, more American access to rare earth materials. We actually have new mining capacity, lithium capacity being developed in Nevada, which is very exciting because we're way behind. I would also say that our companies are looking at using different kinds of technology that don't take all those rare earth materials. Also recycling, which is becoming a job creator in Michigan for materials. So there's a lot of things. There have more battery production, which we know that we need in the United States. And of course, we need to change the Highway Trust Fund. Absolutely.
Stabbing
but
out.
I
Debbie,
support American
out.
innovation. I will tell you, in Michigan right now, we have a stretch of road being built that actually has the charging technology in the road, Mr. Chairman, so that when you drive, you will automatically have your car charged. So I support American innovation. Are we there?
Hello, good morning.
But we are certainly getting there. And I would also say this, our biggest competitor, there's no question about it, is China.
Lee knows
but
trade.
Right now, our companies are competing against a country. That's what's happening. There is not a level playing field. Specifically,
slave labor
China is coming for us. They want to corner the EV market, and their government has heavily subsidized this effort. And they've also been willing to steal our patents, I should tell you, coming from Michigan. So what do we do? I mean, we, I believe, have the
Max Flower, U.S. is moving closer to renewing a trade program with Africa, AGGA,
we need to do our part to help them create a level playing field. And that's why I'm so glad that we are doing
trade to improve
this hearing, because we're talking about more than 10 million good-paying jobs.
As we read with the vice president, who has actually been working on trying to help.
You mentioned the most important thing Congress can do now for the EV sector is to provide policy certainty and continuity.
This road is right by my house.
Could you talk a little bit more about that? I know that our private sector, our automakers say, just give me certainty about what's going on.
Hi, Oren.
Thank you, Senator. By that, I mean that the tax credits that
know,
were implemented
right?
in the IRA
That guy
have
was
just
he's
been
like a
finalized in terms of their
well-known
guidance,
thug.
and many of the programs authorized
He's
and
a
funded by the
well-known thug
infrastructure
here in
law
Los Angeles.
are authorized to
A
spend
proud
down
boy.
through 2026. So these programs are just getting underway. And industry needs to know that they can count on a stable policy environment to make the hundreds of billions of dollars of investments that they've announced across the United States.
Oh, Jesus.
And to do that with confidence, to drive innovation, and to expand our supply chain. And so I think the most important thing that can be done now is to provide that confidence for the industry with bipartisan support for the
We have a
maintenance of
Trump
existing
speaking
policies.
to the Association of Black Journalists
Also note
today.
that on the consumer side, consumers are just getting familiar with how these tax credits work.
Is that gonna go
January
well?
this year,
I don't know.
we started to offer
Maybe.
at at point of sale rebates.
Maybe it will.
That's a new thing for people. So there's a lot for people to get familiar with. We just set the stage. Let's let our American companies and innovators play on that stage and do what they do best.
I wasn't. No, it's an old tape.
Would you just
old tape, Jay? Old tape
on the same issue?
Sure, Senator. Obviously,
Old
policy
tape.
certainty is absolutely essential. I mean, you talked about not just the certainty as it relates to potential tax incentives, but in a competitive environment, we need to look beyond just 5 or 10 years. We need to ensure that policies are in place to ensure that the U.S. is competitive, not just tomorrow, but well beyond that. So that certainty is important. And Senator, as you know, oftentimes the general public forgets about the long lead times in automobile manufacturing production. The decisions made today in calendar year 24, model year 25 are effectively locked. Manufacturers are already looking out to model years 28. So policies that change today have a material impact, but they don't fully get realized for years to come. So that's why that policy certainty is so important. We need to ensure incentives are here to build resilient supply chains to support consumers as well as to attract
I would have
the
let you
investment
guys
and
know
the jobs that we're witnessing.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're going to know. I need you guys to keep an eye on me.
I'm going to start with Dr. Jenkins.
Grassley, you're still alive?
Your written testimony notes, quote, President Biden established a target to cut U.S. greenhouse gas emissions to half of peak levels by 2030. To reach this goal, electric vehicle sales should be making up about 50% of the light-duty vehicle market by that date, up about fivefold from today. The testimony also recognized, quote-unquote, a remarkable collapse in
Trump
EV
event sounds
sales
ridiculous. Yeah, it really does.
Given the evident lack of
I am going to keep an
demand
eye on
for
it.
EVs, is this Biden-Harris administration goal of 5 times today's EV sales attainable by 2030?
Great questions,
Great questions.
Senator Grassley.
Amazing.
At this stage, I
Amazing
should note
that he has
that's
a great
goal. It's
question.
non-binding, and we'll see where consumers go with the products that are being offered on the market. I'll note, as I did in my oral testimony, that most of the collapse in sales, all of it really is Tesla, who is the market leader, responsible for about 45% of all plug-in vehicle sales. So if they're stumbling to sell their vehicles, it's very difficult to see the overall market expand at a pace that's consistent with that goal. But the rest of the market is becoming increasingly diversified. We're seeing strong growth in
Of all the
a variety
major
of companies
conservative
offering more
parties
and more
in the
products that
Democratic world, the
consumers want
Republican Party
at
stands
price
alone
points
in
that they
its
can
denial
afford.
of the
And we're seeing
legitimacy of
increased
climate
interest
science.
from consumers. As I
Right?
mentioned, over half of consumers
This guy's
surveyed are interested
haircut
in buying
and
an
tie
EV
make
within the
me
next
think
year.
he is
Not all of them will
serious
do so,
about
but
it.
that indicates substantial opportunity to grow.
This guy's like a
and
little
we're in the early stages of this
loosey-goosey. Like he
transition.
didn't tighten his
Dr.
tie.
Friedrich, your written testimony states
Disney
in
animatronic.
bold, quote, if U.S. policymakers do not
Jeff
support
Davis
the
do, but he could
development,
be a weirdo.
commercialization,
Out of the
and
basement.
acceptance of
His
electrified
head is bigger than his
vehicles,
shoulders are
our
wide. Wait,
nation
now I've
risks
got to see
becoming more
that.
dependent on foreign sources
I know,
for
not
raw
him. I know,
materials
the
and
messy
critical
nerd.
minerals
Yeah.
in the future defined by our
Look at him.
competitors.
Took him long
You
enough to
also
ask.
note that, quote, China is manufacturing
Did you ever-
EVs
I did.
on
Oren.
a scale equivalent to
Oren,
the entire
I did get
manufacturing
them.
output of the auto industry in the United
I
States.
didn't like them.
The left is holding up the environmental permitting.
Oh my God, I'm
reform
so sorry. They
necessary
were
to
so
mine
sweet.
for the
They were too
domestic
sweet
critical
for
minerals,
me.
which we need to compete with China
I
while urging
the
a
idea was
massive
I did get
EV
them though,
market share
and I tried
expansion.
them, and I just couldn't eat them.
It just doesn't
I'm
add up. So
sorry.
my question: should we do more
bummed,
to
I'm
mine
bummed.
for critical minerals domestically?
Oh yeah, let's
And what
mine
specific
domestically.
pieces of environmental legislation should we amend to improve our mining capacity? And let me suggest before
Which
you answer
regulations
that,
should we get
that
rid of?
maybe a couple months ago I read about the nickel mining in Indonesia at the same time that our own government was not allowing such mining in Minnesota.
Well, Senator, thank you for those questions.
Bring
I
back
would like
black
to underscore
lung.
that, again, there's record number
It's a
of
sugar
options and
overdose.
choices available to consumers today. As it
Yeah,
relates
that
to the
was it. It
supply
was just
chains,
too sweet.
the best time to
So
start
funny.
was yesterday. The next best time on permitting was to start today. So we can't have permitting reform fast enough as it relates to addressing not only what the U.S. may need for future supply chain resilience, but also working with our allies and partners, knowing that obviously auto standards are set well into the future. And even if we started today with
Make
mining and
black lung
extracting in the
great
U.S., it
again.
might be 15 or more years. before we may see the benefits of that extraction and
Oh, my
processing.
God.
So again, I think that underscores the critical importance.
Hi,
If the
Gus.
U.S. is to remain
Hi, Gus,
competitive
Gus. You want
across
me to
all
move my
vehicle
thing?
platforms, that the
can get
supply
through.
chain piece is fundamental.
Mm-hmm.
I think you expressed the inconsistency between environmental policies
Don't hit my
and what
camera.
the same environmentalists think we ought to do for EV vehicles. Mr. Davis,
You can go
as
the other
you
way.
know, the
Thank
Federal
you.
Government Highway Trust Fund has operated at a deficit, is currently projected by the Congressional Budget Office to become insolvent in 2028.
He doesn't even know what he's reading.
Even though the existing taxes that fund
He literally
the trust
doesn't know
fund
what he's
generally
reading.
adhere to user pays principle for surface transportation, the federal government has not followed the lead of at least 24 states that impose higher registration fees on EVs to compensate for lost gas revenue. Do you
Lost
agree
gas
that
revenue.
if we want
What?
to maintain the user fee pays principle that has traditionally guided these trust fund taxes, we should ensure EVs are also paying their fair share?
Thank you, Senator. If you want to maintain the user pay, user benefit principle, then all vehicles that use the road should pay
Jeff.
something.
Jeff.
The question of what would the proper way be to tax EVs is it depends on, first of all, if the government is going to shift away from gasoline tax to another method in general. If so, you tax EVs like you tax the rest of them on mileage or whatever. If not, the states that are doing EV registration fees, as long as they are around the ballpark average of what an internal combustion vehicle of the same size and axle weight would do on average mileage, is a sort of proxy. It's not a great proxy because it doesn't differentiate between the car that drives 3,000 a year and the car that drives 30,000 miles a year. But right now, it's about $89 a year is the average in gasoline taxes paid for a passenger car, and it's about $110 in federal fuel taxes paid for a larger SUV or pickup truck.
Okay.
If an annual registration for EVs were in that ballpark, you could honestly say that it was as close an approximation of a true user fee as it would be easy for the IRS to administer and would be consistent with the user benefit principle.
Thank you very much.
Is it cheap in Iowa?
Senator Grassley. Ms. Gross, you and Dr. Jenkins both talked about how EVs can contribute
Sheldon,
to our
bring us back home,
electric
please.
grid security
Oh, shit.
Through peak shaving or even putting power back into the grid when it's needed. In terms of peak shaving, you'd need the capacity to tell charging EVs to stop charging through the peak period and then automatically resume charging. So you'd need a signal to the automobile from the utility and willingness of the consumer to accept that. To do that peak shaving function, what does Congress need to do to help? Are there standards that need to be built in? Is the industry doing it on its own? And let me ask you to go first, and Dr. Jenkins, if you had added thoughts, you can follow up. But Ms. Gross, you first, please.
Sure, happy. Thank you, Senator, for the question. Happy to talk through this one. Yeah, the electric vehicles it's unlike a load we've ever seen before on the grid. It's the smartest, biggest, and most flexible load. So there's this huge opportunity to charge the vehicles at night. Many, not all, not if you're taking a long distance trip or you're trucking and you have to travel during the day. But that opportunity to charge when the grid has spare capacity is a huge opportunity. It's going to keep our costs low on the grid too. That capital investment in ever increasing the peak that has to be served on the grid. So this idea that V to G and V1G, either single direction, which is basically smart charging. Charge when I want you to.
V to G meaning vehicle to grid.
Beg your pardon?
V to G meaning vehicle to grid.
Vehicle to grid,
Yep.
perfect. Vehicle to grid is, and also vehicle to grid meaning also bidirectional, so that not only can I take power from the grid when there's plenty of surplus capacity at night, or maybe when a lot of sun is shining in some of the
Wow, it's
states,
$1 a gallon
but
less.
I can also give back.
All these people are so disheveled.
When
I
there are
know,
times when the
right?
grid is struggling
Hello?
to keep up with maybe load on the grid.
Yeah, they work
And
on
so
their
V2G
minds.
is certainly a promise that's
We can't
out there.
do any
There's a lot of work
fashion.
getting done in that area, but smart
me
charging
ask,
is here
According
today.
to AAA.
you
Oh,
and,
except the guy with the head.
Dr.
Yeah,
Jenkins
he's pretty
both
well combed.
to
He's
provide a written
coiffed.
recommendation to
He's
Senator
dragged a
Graham
comb
and to
through his
myself
hair
about what
for
we
his
might
Caesar
do
haircut.
working together
Or whatever, modified
sure
Caesar.
As EVs
Is that what
come
that is?
online,
Modified Caesar?
They have the necessary capability so that the consumer can take advantage of that capability. And also, if you're going to offer a utility that capability, that adds value to the utility. What benefit should the consumer get from the utility for offering up their vehicle as a resource, either by
I'm disheveled,
taking
but
it
I literally
willingly
just got out of bed
offline
and I live
during peak
alone and I
periods
don't
or
care.
by limiting charging to
Oren.
the night or however that works. It's a bit of a complicated question.
Let's
but I
hear
think
it for
there's some
disheveled.
bipartisan
Yay.
activity here, and I'd love to have a recommendation from both of you. In my remaining 2 minutes, Ms. Hinman, first of all, thank you for all your terrific work. You've described the economic and national security risks of Chinese, what you called weaponized supply chains. Is there also a climate risk associated with China's supply chains?
Yes, thank you so much, Senator. Absolutely. So, China's.
And is there a policy that would help fix that?
I think I know of at least one. China's rent-seeking also arrives in this form of sort of what we call environmental arbitrage or creating a pollution subsidy. So essentially how it works, even though China has the technical capacity to enforce its own environmental rules, because it produces many of those in technologies, and in fact, in air pollution control in particular, is the world's leading exporter of air pollution control technology.
She's scaring me.
Widespread evidence
She scares
that China, particularly among their state-owned enterprises,
Maureen
intentionally
Hinman.
reduces
I want
its
to find out
inspection
more
rates
about you, Maureen.
and
You're
then
freaking me
refuses to
out.
operate its air pollution control machinery. Now, if you look at like a coal-fired power plant scrubber, if you leave that scrubber off, that reduces
She's a
your
leading
energy
expert.
cost of operation of air pollution control.
She's the leading expert
materials by about
on
15 to 20%
environmental industry and
So
the
you're getting a
co-founder.
15
Okay,
to
yeah.
20%
She's a
pollution
leading
subsidy
policy expert on
your total energy
environmental
production
industry.
for everything that you produce. That
She
comes off that
also
coal-fired power
is on the board of the Washington Ballet, which
I don't know a single
was a
manufacturing firm
subscriber
in
to the
United
Washington
States that wouldn't
Ballet,
love a 20%
but I was
subsidy
not
their
on the
energy
board.
costs. This is deeply unfair. It's unfair in terms of competitive sense, but also in a climate.
Former
and
trade
environmental
negotiator,
sense, because
economic
that
and
is,
ecological security
SOx,
advocate,
NOx,
clean
and of
tech
course, carbon
expert.
and other climate pollutants
That's who
being
Maureen
pumped
is.
up into the air at a deeply
And she
unfair
probably was a
rate that
ballerina. I'm going to
advances
guess.
our,
Because she
decline
supports the
in terms
ballet.
of climate stability. One important way that we could counter this is that both the United States and friends could actually levy a border fee that corrects for this market imbalance and levels the playing field in terms of both climate and other pollution values. The figures behind
That's what
this
she
are known, and
says.
I know there's several very good
She's
bills
got that
floating around
scrappy
the Hill right now,
DIY
both
corporate
on the
lobbyist
quantification
vibe. She
side, but
does.
also on the particulars on those measures and how we might work with partners.
She likes her
that makes a
Pinot.
perfect segue
No, I'm just
to
kidding.
Senator
What are
Graham,
those
who,
word
along with
things
Senator
called where
Cassidy,
there's all kinds
has
of
a bill
keywords
to
or
that
something?
effect,
Corporate
and
talk
I would
always
note that,
sounds like someone's
Ambassador
reading a
Lighthizer,
poster.
who's President Trump's
Yeah,
trade
it's like
representative, is
success.
also a fan
Lean
of
into the
that
wind.
policy. So
Lean
with-
into the wind.
with
Let it
that, let me
blow
turn
on
it
your
over to,
face.
Senator Graham, and thank him again for
Television ads,
helping
yeah.
put this hearing together.
Well, and I'll thank you and Senator Grassley for having. 'Cause
Yeah,
this
she puts
is the
together
first of many
television ads.
conversations I think
Her
we're
eyes
gonna
are
have.
creepy. I'm sorry. I
Mr.
agree.
Schweikert, did
I
I
got
say
to
your
pick
name
on
right?
something.
Schweitert.
Schweitert, I'm sorry.
It's a mouthful.
How about David? Okay, David. Are car companies making electric vehicles because they have to or they want to?
Senator, I think there's no question, as you noted earlier, that electrification is the future. So for purposes...
Well, I mean, is it the future based on consumer demand or government policy?
I would say it's a mix. Obviously, I think
Gosh, what were
regulations are policy.
what were seatbelts? What were seatbelts, Mr. Graham? What were seatbelts?
Why does
What were
China make
seatbelts?
electric vehicles because of
confused.
climate policy?
No, it's primarily a response to strategic manufacturing policy and air pollution reduction goals.
Yeah, okay, so
they
it's
basically
climate.
strategically selected electric vehicles as an opportunity to leapfrog internal combustion engine manufacturing, which is an area that the West, the United States,
But
and
it's
others
not
dominate.
driven by climate. I mean,
It's
if you're
not
really
Yeah,
worried
no, it
about
is
climate, you
actually.
wouldn't
He
use a
just said
coal-fired
that.
plant
He just fucking said
to
that.
power an electric vehicle plant, right?
Well, with China's average grid mix, it actually does reduce greenhouse gas emissions relative to an internal.
Oh my
So are
God,
they making all
it
these cars
works.
because they're worried about the environment?
Yeah.
They're worried primarily about air
And they
pollution
make
and their
money.
strategic role in manufacturing in the
They're
global market.
yeah, they want to be
Miss
billionaires too, just like
Heinemann,
you, Lindsay. You fucking
why do we make
douchebag.
electric cars? Is it because of consumer demand or government policy?
Consumer demand. Say it.
My sense is it's per my colleague to my left is it's because it's a combination of the two. But
Yeah.
you know,
So-
we're a market economy, so
Right.
the government does work.
So
to help
some
with market
people want
signals.
them, right? So, David, if we did away with the mandate
fucking
or the
hate this guy
goal of
so
having half
much.
the vehicle fleet electrified, a government policy, by 2035, what percentage of the cars on the road do you think would be electric without a mandate?
Senator, that's a very good question. Last year was 9.5%. So if we fast forward, it's hard to say. A lot of it depends on how reliant
Well,
we
let's
are.
just say we did away with the mandate. Trump says he wants to do away. Will that end electric car manufacturing in America?
No. However, we might
That's a
have
dumb
unbalanced
question.
things as it
How about
relates to
that?
whether or not the U.S. is competitive as it relates to some of those supportive policies, whether it's tax incentives or.
Right.
Yes.
So, Ms. Heinemann,
Whenever I see Lindsay,
Is
all I
that
can
right,
think
Hinman?
about is that pool pick.
Okay. All right. Is the dominance of China irreversible in this supply chain?
I believe not. Absolutely not. I think the U.S. and its allies and friends, if we move quickly to create agile, responsive, and coordinated policies, could flip the script and
Flip the script?
reestablish market dynamics in the global economy.
I want to talk to you about that in more detail. So forget about what we do here, Mr. Jenkins. Does everybody agree China's going to continue to make a bunch of electric vehicles no matter what we do?
Correct.
Everybody agree with
I
that?
mean, everyone is. This
For
is
whatever
dumb.
reason, they're going to make a bunch of them. And it seems to me that the supply chain to make a battery, if we don't change our policy, is going to be so dominated by China, we may just have lost this entire area of our economy. Is that fair to say, Mr.
No,
David?
it's not.
Yes, Senator, I would note, and this is something that hopefully resonates with this committee, if we didn't have the regulations, obviously electrification is the future. If the U.S. is taking itself off the global stage for competition, for instance, on average, we're exporting 2 million vehicles a year. So if the U.S. isn't competing on electrification,
Kathy,
and the
I
rest
have
of the
not
world
seen
is,
it. Thank you
we've
for
got a
alerting
real
me to the
risk.
existence
that's
of a
what
pool
BMW
pick
is
in
trying to do in
Lindsay.
Volvo in South Carolina.
Businesses in country,
Can you
gonna
be
business
for
in countries.
EVs and
Agile,
against mining?
synergy,
Mr.
innovative, ugh.
Well, I
I
think we need
know,
to
I
source the
fucking hate
requisite
corporate
materials
speak.
for the entire supply chain. And
Uncle
the environmental
Lindsay.
impact of that is substantially lower than mining billions of
God,
tons of
Lindsay,
coal
Lindsay,
or
Lindsay.
billions of tons equivalent of oil
if
each
you-
year that we light on fire.
Okay, that's good. So if you're for EVs, you need to be for mining here at home. Does that
No,
make everybody agree
that
with
is
that?
not, no.
If you're
No.
for EVs, you need to have a robust grid. Do you agree with that, Ms. Gross?
I agree with that.
Because the demand is real.
Look at her. She's like,
Mr.
I don't
Jenkins,
like
are
you and
opposed
your
to
little
natural
games.
gas as being part of the future of the grid?
Natural gas generation is going to remain a part of the grid for quite some time, particularly for capacity needs to meet peak demands. And
So without natural gas, it'd be
It's so
pretty unrealistic
Sigma.
to meet
It's
the
so
demand.
Sigma.
that said, we're going to see a reduction in the amount of natural gas
What do we do
consumed
about
by
this
those power plants
crisis?
as we scale up American renewable energy resources.
Let's
that
run
can
it up the
displace
flagpole and see who
As a
salutes.
not the capacity.
As a baseload fuel, renewables are going to get us to where we need to go without natural gas.
I'm putting
anymore.
fake nails on
Senator, we
today.
don't need a baseload fuel. What we need is a combination of resources that can meet all of our demands throughout the year. Renewables are
fun
great at
nails.
supplying energy, but they're
Because I cleaned my house yesterday, so I don't have to clean house today, so I'm going to put on fun nails. You have an electric mower? That's cool.
Nuclear power
This
plants,
is a rational
batteries, and other
discussion.
resources.
I know I'm 18 seconds over here. What I want to do is just think it through. I'm at a car-heavy state, and they're making EVs, and I agree with you. I think the mandate is probably pushing us. I don't like it, but I think consumers are going to demand some electric vehicles. China's not going to change their policy. It seems to be a part of the
Maybe you're not
the
talking to the
future
right
economically.
donors.
And if we don't watch it, we're going to be
Oh,
out
voters,
of
I
the battery
mean.
business. And I would just like to have a rational approach to what I think is an irreversible trend, that there will be more electric cars over time, not less.
Who cares?
And I think it'd be a shame to not play in this space. For whatever reason drives you, no pun intended, I think America's going to make some real hard decisions quickly. And if we do it, we will dominate this market, no matter how big it is or how small it might be. I'd
Wouldn't
like to
hate hearing
dominate this
mandate
market for a lot of reasons, or
undermined.
at least be
Yeah.
competitive. I met with the Chinese ambassador
You're gonna manifest a
yesterday, and I'll close with
economy.
this. I said, we're going to have an honest discussion about the way you produce electric cars.
This could have been
Get
a
ready
meeting,
for that discussion.
or this could have been an email. That's
I
That's
think
what I'm going to say.
before I turn to Senator Merkley, there is a very significant bipartisan common cause towards cleaner energy, lower emissions, and taking back Chinese dominance in this area that they
Lawnmower
have achieved,
kicks.
to use Ms. Hinman's words, unfairly through
NASCAR
mercantilistic interventions and cheating
Paul, I think
essentially
you have
in
an
the
electric
marketplace.
lawnmower. Does it do a
So
good job?
we need to
Is
have
that what you were
ways
trying to say?
respond to that, to make sure we are not dependent on their supply chains for
I think it's
national
great.
security,
I think
economic,
EVs
and
are
climate
great.
safety
I don't have one, but
reasons. And I think there's a big bipartisan opportunity, so I'm delighted that we're having this. And Senator Graham, I fully look forward to working with you to flesh out what those strong bipartisan policies look like to support our auto manufacturers and the workers who build these beautiful vehicles. Senator
big,
Merkley,
beautiful
and then
vehicles.
Here's the roster. Senator Merkley, Senator Braun, Senator Kane, Senator Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And certainly one of the reasons there's so much interest in my home state in electrics is because of what's happening right now. We have 121
It kicks ass, but I need a second battery. Oh, yeah, yeah,
1 million
yeah.
acres have already burned.
I mean,
this
we
year.
definitely have to do some work
2
on
weeks ago,
batteries.
we had more acreage of flame than all the rest of the United States.
Battery-operated vehicles. Oh,
Massive
BOVs.
impact in
I like
all
it.
Parts of our state.
I
both with
like
the fires
it.
And the,
I like
and the
it.
smoke.
Oh, my
We simply
fingers are
have
sticking
to
together
dramatically
because of the
reduce
super
the amount
glue.
of methane and carbon dioxide we're putting into the atmosphere. But I'll tell you another reason it's so appealing is because of the cost differential. Now, Mr. Jenkins, or Dr. Jenkins, you were talking about the peak
I know.
load pricing
Yeah.
challenge.
Battery-operated tools
My
die
local
out. We
utility
need better
offers
batteries.
a plan where if I'm charging
Maybe we need to
after
go
9
back to like
p.m.,
Amish
it's
shit. You know what I'm
7.4
saying?
cents per
It's a
kilowatt
mess,
hour.
but that's okay.
If I charge from 5 to 9 p.m., which is peak load in my area, it's 33 cents. So we have a little
Now I won't be able to
note on
do
our
anything.
dryer
Now I won't be able to do
reminding us
anything for
turn
like
it on after 9
2
p.m.
days until
But
they fall off,
really
which they're
has an
already falling
impact
off.
on-
Damn it.
on simply turning on our charger at 9 p.m. at
glue.
night, and our at 220 volts, our
Dumb
car is completely
glue.
charged, even it's depleted by the next morning. Mr. Chairman, you were mentioning the question on whether we need a sophisticated
My
system to
fingers
tell
are
the
sticking
cars.
to each other.
This is a system that doesn't require anything sophisticated. It's just a pricing plan where people remember to turn on their electric chargers for their cars at night. And it
Amish,
makes
no power, eat
shifts
potato
a
soup.
huge
Yep.
part of our electric consumption in that fashion. Now let's take that cost that we're paying of 7.4 cents. Let's round it off to 8 cents. We get over 4 miles per kilowatt hour.
Trying to
Basic math
keep my
is costing us
pinky.
2 cents per mile
Just
to charge
get
our
two
or to drive our car.
Yeah.
Now we'll take
I
our
know.
gas
Always
and
get
40
two.
miles
I know. Get
per
two
per
batteries.
gallon.
Yep.
At $4, that's 10 cents.
Oh, now I can itch
So it's
my-
5 times more expensive to drive a fuel-powered
And now I'm going to
car.
poke myself in
Why
the
do
eye.
we never hear about this? If it was the reverse and driving your electric car was 5 times more expensive than driving your fuel combustion car, you can bet every fossil fuel company in America would be publicizing that. Why don't we hear that it's 5 times cheaper to drive an electric car? Dr. Jenkins, you want to comment on that?
Well, I do think you raise a great point, Senator Merkley. We're at the early stages of this transition, and I think we do need a lot more advertising and proactive efforts to educate the public from the industry itself, from automakers and dealerships.
I think they're
and
expensive.
from
Aren't they
potentially from
expensive?
public sources as well. It's a significant cost differential. The upfront purchase prices are higher, and that's another reason why the tax credits established by the IRA are critical to bring down that upfront purchase price. If you build that into the cost of a lease, which many people are turning to purchase new EVs, that is basically a $7,500 additional down payment on the vehicle, and that covers a large amount of the depreciation that you would normally pay for in your lease payments. And that's why the cheapest vehicles on the market right now to lease in virtually every category are electric vehicles. So it's not just cheaper when you operate it, it could be cheaper on a monthly payment basis as well today.
Well, I've talked to a lot of folks who previously were intimidated by those high upfront prices.
Wait,
and they're
what?
buying
I
used
tried
electrics.
using
Now that
AAA.
we're this far into it, they're buying a used Tesla
We're
or a used whatever. And because
I'm a
even though
lefty, so
the
everything I
amount of
do
range
looks
declines
wrong to my
modestly
righty
over
husband. I
time, you're still
just
starting with
laugh.
enough range. You have a lot of range left. So it's really becoming
That's
much
the benefit
more
of the tax
affordable
credit,
to
yeah.
middle-class families through both
That makes
both
sense.
points that you're making about leasing and about being able to buy a used vehicle. I want to turn to the issue that Senator Stabenow raised about the charging stations. One of the things that has been interesting is how slow we've developed a national standard for the interface. We now have the North American Charging Standard, the NACS standard. Rivian's adopted it, Ford's adopting it, or has adopted it, Chevy's adopting it next year. So, Mr. Chairman, your Chevy Bolt, your next Chevy Bolt will be able to use the NACS standard. And Nissan's adopting it. So that's starting to become a solved problem. But one of the ways we could rapidly expand the ability of folks who have cars currently is to have electric charging stations.
Oh, I love the Rivians. They're so pretty.
However, national law,
They're
federal law
pretty.
prohibits that. Is that something we should change?
Fancy.
Yes.
Ms. Gross, would you like to comment on that?
Well, we don't normally comment on policy at EPRI.
Oh, somebody else, if you don't want to comment, somebody else, anybody else want to comment?
However, more charging stations are required.
Plug-in
They're gonna be
hybrid's good
necessary,
too.
they're gonna be
Yeah.
required for consumers.
Is this going to be like USB cords?
Are all of the charging stations that are going to be deployed
Yes.
under the Inflation Reduction Act going to have a NACS standard?
It's an interesting topic here in Motor City. Yeah, totally. Wait
I don't believe
until
that's required,
VW
but,
starts
it's
building
increasingly
new
the case that
Scout
all
in
chargers
South
are
Carolina,
converging to the next
right?
standard going forward, and there are adapters now coming to market that allow interoperability. There's
In
already
AAA.
the reverse. You can plug your Tesla into a CCS charge port with an adapter. I'm still waiting for Ford to ship me my adapter for my Mustang Mach-E, but they're sending them for free to all owners of existing
so they have
Ford vehicles.
adapters.
So
Yeah.
this is going to become an increasingly solved problem, as you noted.
This is the Magic
There you go.
Dock adapter, right?
Or just any others. You can have your own adapter you just carry with you in your frunk.
Okay.
In your
Listen,
frunk.
my time's up, but I just
Oh
want to
my
close
God.
with this. Everyone, it's
A
5
supplier
times cheaper
discount.
per
I'm
mile
fighting for
to
a
drive an
supplier
electric.
discount for the Scout.
And
Yeah,
if you buy
girl.
used electric, you don't have to worry about the upfront high costs because the depreciation's been paid by somebody else, and it's a sweet deal.
And
So there
Dr.
you
Jenkins
go.
had to show off that he has a Mustang Mach-E after I said I only had Chevy Bolts.
Okay.
Senator
Well,
Braun.
measure your dicks later and let's get on
Thank you,
with it.
Mr. Chairman. The average cost of an electric vehicle is over $17,000 more than the average price of a gas-powered vehicle. So
What's going
we're
on
doing
with
a
his upper
lot
lip?
that is
Is that a
force-feeding
mustache?
something in that's very expensive.
I think so.
We got other issues.
He
with
looks
it.
like
It's in
a
the
who down in
context of
Whoville.
Here we're borrowing.
Oh,
now
I would love a
couple $1 trillion
VW camper.
a
Oh my
year,
God. That
where
would
it
be
was
so
just
fun.
$1 trillion 6 months ago.
I would
and everything
love
we
that.
do new, it's
for my
100%
Mustang.
borrowed.
So large
think
head is
What
not
I'm
proportionate.
wondering, and I'd like to ask Dr. Jenkins, Ms.
Yeah,
Gross, and
but
Ms. Hinman,
means you're
given this context,
if you have a Mustang.
three of you believe
if you have
that
a Mustang, that
consumers
means you're
should have the right to choose the type of vehicle that best fits their own needs, economic circumstances? Or do you think we ought to be orchestrating this
fancy electric car.
here when we've never even figured out how to spend less than we take in, and we're currently borrowing from these very same
I'm
consumers?
patiently waiting for the new
others
electric
around the
VW
world
camper software.
tune of
Oh, it's
$2
so
trillion
cute.
a year currently.
Oh my God, yes. Remember we looked
Senator, I
at
would
it.
say
Didn't
that
we look
consumers
at
do
it
have the
here
option
in
to
the
choose
lounge?
the vehicles that best suit them. We have a
Oh,
wide variety of
so
offerings on the
cute.
market today, and no requirement that
Who are
anyone
you,
anywhere
Jesse?
purchases an electric vehicle.
Who are
The
you?
prices are increasingly affordable as well. So this is a moving target. Cost of batteries, which are the largest component of an electric vehicle, have fallen by about 50% over the last 3 years.
Wow.
And are expected to continue to decline going forward. And so that cost premium, you cited $17,000. I looked right now in the compact SUVs category, like a Mustang Mach-E or Tesla Model Y, the gap's about $10,000 up front. And again, the cost of ownership is quite low. So the total cost of ownership is already
with his hair
about
blowing in the wind.
Do you know the current
freckles,
federal subsidy
darkening,
that goes into
sweater
electric
wrapped
vehicles,
around his
what
shoulders?
the amount is per vehicle?
It's up to $7,500 for the consumer
Do you
purchase.
know what that is in total that we're currently doing?
I believe I just read it was about $125 billion. I can get back to you on that.
Would you agree that all of that's being borrowed to push
What?
that onto
stop.
consumers?
Well, CBO's
Stop.
estimate was that the Inflation Reduction Act was more than paid for, so I'm not sure I agree with that.
I'd say that's a fake pay for, but thank you for your opinion. Okay, we'll go to Ms. Gross.
Oh,
and
your
Ms. Hinman.
expert just kind of fucking schooled you.
Senator, thank you for that question.
And penis ever
I'll
so
just
small.
add, without commenting too much on the policy,
Pants too
I'll
short.
just add that consumers are choosing these vehicles. Senator Merkley talked about the energy wallet.
Big tires,
the fact
though.
that,
Big tires.
you can feel it in your pocketbook when you don't have to go to the gas station, and the cost of electricity is so much less when you're charging an electric vehicle. I'll also say that truck drivers,
Britta.
data out there shows that truck drivers actually like driving electric vehicles because you don't experience that fatigue that you have with the rumble and the roar of a combustion engine vehicle. So this issue of fatigue is also a safety issue. So we're starting to see, there
Wow,
are
she's
reasons
smart.
to want to drive an electric vehicle based on data that's out there that are really extremely
She does. She
compelling
does play tennis.
for automakers and truck drivers out there, manufacturers.
A fake paid for,
Thank you
or
so
really
much,
paid
Senator.
for. I don't know.
I think it's a little bit of an uncomfortable conversation to have about the fact that we've got a very large predatory market who is influencing prices up and down the value chain in ways that Americans just can't simply compete with. And to me,
Yeah,
the
because
sense
slave
of sort of how
labor?
much we're spending
Is that what it
really
is,
hard
Ms.
to
Hinman?
sort of square against the massive
Would it be your
amount
supply
of
chain
spend
contains
and predatory
slave
nature
labor?
that occurs from the Chinese Communist Party? In a perfect world, this would be a pure a global market, right? And we wouldn't feel the need to have to subsidize in the way that
I'm
we
nervous
do.
for her.
I do think there's scope for new tools, particularly trade policy tools and environmental policy tools at the border. But certainly, I think some of these distortions we have to kind of appreciate.
She's kind of wishing she didn't have that last glass of Pinot last night.
Adversary overseas.
Thank you. And I've got one more
Before the big
question,
day.
but I'd like to also tell you that it was about 9 months ago, and I was holding up a letter from 4,000 dealers that said,
4,000?
"Please don't send us any more EVs." And I'm for the cleanest, least
No, you're not.
expensive.
No,
and
you're
like
not.
The idea
No,
that
you're
it's
not.
out there as a choice.
No, you're not.
But 4,000 dealers said they are choking on them. It's even hurt their own enterprises to have to tie it up because they're not moving at the speed at which the government would like to see it, even when they're offering $7,500 a pop. Got one more question. And,
Why can't they
I'd
just
like
be
a
mad
yes
at
or no
China?
answer
Right,
on
exactly.
the part of all of you.
Peace, love. Hello,
I'm for
you made it.
whatever's going to be the cleanest, least expensive
you're
fuel
not.
in the long run.
No, you're not.
And even how that
No, you're
impacts
not.
electric
You just said
generation,
no.
transportation,
You
the
just
whole
said
gamut.
no.
There's been a very robust
Come on.
discussion in the Senate Climate Caucus on that, which I
So
was part of
dumb.
that. We still have great conversations, but a lot of it says
Climate
that
Caucus.
so much of this is going to be due to technological breakthroughs in the future. And as much as we'd like to see those results in the present, we either can't afford it, just doesn't make sense to do it. Now, as it relates to electric vehicles, to all witnesses, does the U.S. currently have the grid capacity to sustain a growing domestic vehicle fleet that is being mandated on consumers by policies from the Biden administration? In respecting time, just give me a yes or no.
Fuck off.
Dr. Jenkins.
We can expand the grid at a pace that's sufficient to accommodate all of those EVs as we have in the past. This is not an unprecedented challenge. It's one that American utilities can easily meet.
With planning and investment, the pace can be met and grid can be ready.
Yes.
We can meet the demands today, and we need to plan for the future, absolutely.
Yes, if you start today and anticipate where the EV demand will be 10 years from now, you can get there.
Thank you so much.
So there you
Can I
go.
correct the record on one
Sorry.
of the statements I just made? The total tax outlays this year, according to Treasury, are $1 billion for the EV subsidies to date. That's through the first
not
half of this year.
125 billion.
I think I misspoke by several orders of magnitude, so I apologize about that.
Thank you, Dr.
But nonetheless, it was 1 billion.
Senator Kane.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And
Well, that's a big mistake.
I love walking in and seeing the title of the hearing, Bipartisan Senate Budget Committee Hearing. And I appreciate that this has been a
Tim
hearing and a discussion
Kane.
with witnesses who are really
Aw,
trying to
look at him.
explore an
in his
opportunity
purple
that has a
tie.
real upside that is going to need some planning and investment. In Virginia, there's 100,000 electric vehicles on the road in my commonwealth of 8+ million people. And those who charge at their home pay about $1 a gallon. That's what folks in Virginia are paying if they charge at their home. We need to have some advances in charging in Richmond, where I live. A lot of people don't have driveways, apartments, or multifamily communities.
I used to do a lot
so
of
more
work in Richmond,
curbside
Virginia. I love
rest
that
area.
city.
We need to make sure in the deployment of charging technologies, we're not just
Well, I
looking
think
at
he's doing
passenger
the
vehicles, but
equivalent.
we're
You
also
know,
looking
a
at
gallon of
trucks.
lightning bolts. Come on.
Every Volvo
Catch up.
Mack truck that you see
What,
on the
you
road
don't
in
know?
North America is made in Dublin, Virginia. Which
I wonder if Trump's going to tell the black journalists that the immigrants are going to take their jobs. I'm kind of curious about that speech. Did I miss the charge per gallon equivalence presentation? I think we might have. We might have done
to
that.
expand electric vehicle
We might have missed
production.
that.
I
Missed
would
that
encourage,
formula.
if anybody ever wants to do something fun, come with me to Dublin and drive an over-the-road Volvo Mack truck
And get
on their test track.
fucked up.
It's about a 3-mile test track.
How
You'll get in
fun.
that vehicle, and it's so smooth, you think you're going 35, and I looked down at the speedometer, I was going 65.
Oh, well, that's not
The point about
great.
fatigue was remarkable. A diesel truck just has this
I lived
kind
down
of
by Richmond for a couple of years. I love it
really
down
takes
there.
a toll
I
on
love
over-the-road
it.
drivers if they're in
I
that
spent a
truck
lot
for
of time in
multiple hours
Richmond,
a day,
Virginia, in
whereas
like,
the electric vehicle
I don't
is
know,
as smooth as can be,
2009,
and so it is
2010,
going to be a
no,
kind of a
2011,
fatigue
2012. I think I got to vote for Tim
for those
Kaine.
who are
Oh, I
doing this
didn't
job.
live
It's
there. I
hard
was
to
just
recruit
visit,
enough
but I
over-the-road
I had a
drivers
lot
now.
of business
I think
there.
this is a technology that might make it a little bit easier.
Had a lot of. We had
But
huge
in addition
after-school
to the
programs
$208
there.
million investment into the Volvo plant through the
The GOP
IRA,
said, had the
there's also been the
GOP
announcement in the last year of $100
said
million
how they think
investment
farmers
through
are
DOE
stealing American
to a company
tax
called
money. Why are they
Microporous,
trying to shorten their
a company
budget?
that will
Right?
manufacture separators for lithium-ion batteries that are necessary
2003 to 6,
for the
yeah.
EV supply chain.
One
and
of the
that is
Trumpers
likely
said the
to
reason
land in
Kamala
rural
is getting so much
Southside
attention
Virginia
is
near
because, yeah, I know. Butterflies,
Both
they are
Dublin,
going
Virginia,
deep. They're
and
going
Danville,
deep and hard
Virginia
on the
are in
misogyny and the
economically
and the
hard-hit parts of the
racism.
state. They're both in
It's going to
rural
get really.
Virginia. Talk a little bit about
I really
how
feel
the growth
for
of an
her
EV supply
and
chain could be a powerful
how that's going to
economic
impact
development
people.
tool
So
for rural America.
I hope we.
Thanks, Senator. I mean,
Hope we
look,
stand
my,
up
my
to
father's
it.
from Youngstown, Ohio. I grew up in Oregon in the shadow of the timber industry and forest products industry that had decayed,
He's
during
one.
my childhood.
He's an
I've
Oregon
been hearing,
kid.
You know,
That's what
politicians
it
talking
is.
about bringing manufacturing
It is
jobs
what
back
unites
to America
chuds.
literally my
Yes,
entire
it
life,
is.
right? And we're finally doing it.
The great
right? We're seeing those
unifier
investments now
over our
across,
bigotry and our
EVs,
hate.
clean energy, batteries,
Sweet.
semiconductors, et cetera.
So
So we're
sweet.
already seeing over $140 billion
His
of
confidence with the
announced
glasses is
investment in
skewed.
battery
Just laying it.
manufacturing
I know,
and supply
right?
chain
He's just like
capacity across the
boom,
country,
boom, boom,
and
boom,
$57
boom,
billion
boom.
in
And
EV
then this one, and then
manufacturing.
this
That's
one, and
since
then
the
this one, and
infrastructure
then this
law passed.
All right, I have to pee. I'll
that
be right
could
back.
support over 240,000 jobs. And we all know these are more than just the direct employment, right? These are anchor employers in these industries or in these communities. And over the vast majority of those are located in rural and ex-urban communities or communities that are designated as energy communities by the Inflation Reduction Act. So these are exactly the communities that are seeing a renewed
Say that
economic
last
future.
piece. Say that last piece again.
Yeah, so
the
the
vast
majority are in rural and ex-urban areas, and the energy communities that have traditionally relied on fossil fuel extraction, processing, or transportation that were designated by the IRA.
This is a hearing about electric vehicles, but the same week that the announcement was made about DOE supporting the manufacture of electric over-the-road vehicles in Dublin, there was also an IRA-driven announcement of $100 million to a facility that is opening up in Chesapeake, Virginia, which is in the Hampton Roads area, metropolitan area, but it's going to manufacture in the United States for the first time the cables that connect to offshore wind and put the power into the grid. All of this has been manufactured overseas because we didn't have an offshore wind industry. Now, because of the IRA, we will be manufacturing those cables, and not just for use in U.S. offshore wind. Those cables, and the company is a Korean company that's investing in Virginia, will be manufactured in the United States and then sold to offshore wind development all over the United States. Just another example of an IRA success story. Okay, now here's a personal story that's
we need more of those.
embarrassing. I got stuck in my car for 27
I hit
hours in
myself.
January of
Oh, I hit
22,
myself.
driving from Richmond to
I was
DC.
waiting to
And,
see
it
the
was
deluge
18
of racism
degrees
and misogyny.
when
I'm
the
used to
sun
seeing
was up.
racism
It
on
was
display, but this
colder
is really, no. I'm going
and
to
it
tell
was a
you.
freak snowstorm, and
I'm going to tell you,
the
hey,
signs on
Edward,
the highway said
welcome.
proceed with caution. They
I'm going
didn't
to tell
say
you,
turn
it's
around,
bad.
go home. They said proceed with caution.
It's
I proceeded
bad.
with caution. I was stuck for 27 hours.
Yeah, she's going
my
to get
senior
it.
Senator Mark Warner said
And
I
it's
would have
gonna
gotten
be
SEAL
bad.
Team 6 to come out and get me. You sat
Because
there
she's
with
gotten
a
it
Dr.
since
Pepper
like
and
the
an orange for
80s. I mean,
27
she's
hours.
gotten it since the jump.
There was a lot of concern about
And,
what would happen to electric
it's terrible.
vehicles. I had in a gas vehicle. I
Maybe
had to,
less experience with
run the
earlier
engine for
time when
10
the
minutes with
racism
the heat
was
of full
mostly
blast,
suppressed.
turn
I
it
mean,
off
I don't know.
until the car got too
I
cold
hesitate
an hour
to
later
say
and do it again
suppressed,
to
but
try
I
to take my half tank of gas and make it
I
work.
don't know.
And there was a lot of questions about what would happen to electric vehicles.
Those
that night.
are the
And
jobs
I've
the
never
orange guy
introduced
wants
into the
to
Senate
cut. Yeah.
record an
I'm
article
only
from
36.
Kelly
I was
Blue
20 in
Book, but I just
2008. It
thought,
wasn't something that I
there's a
really
first time
noticed.
for everything.
Yeah, I can
Kelly
imagine.
Blue Book did a
I think
study.
it.
They reached out to people
Totally,
who had
that
been
makes
stuck
sense.
in that
And
snowstorm
I
who were
think
driving Teslas or
I
other
think it
electric
is
vehicles. And they
particularly
found out that
seasoned
they actually
racism and
performed
misogyny
better
when it comes to
than
Kamala.
gas vehicles, and that the
And
way
I think
electric
people are.
vehicle engines
I don't
work,
think
you can
people are ready
operate
for
just
it.
a small portion of the
I
engine
don't
that
think
runs
they're
the
ready
heater.
for it.
You don't have
Yeah,
to
they
have
didn't
the
say it
engine
out
running for the whole
loud.
car.
They didn't.
It
You're
does
right.
drain the reserve.
There were things
but
that were
very slowly.
unacceptable.
When finally the traffic started
Mostly.
to move, it was blocked
So
by the
yeah,
fact that so many
absolutely.
vehicles
That
had run out of
definitely.
gas, that
But
even
I just.
trying to move on the
I
ice-driven
remember
roads, you were kind of like
hearing. I remember
Jenga game.
hearing
You're kind
what.
of moving here, there, and everywhere
I
to
remember
kind of
hearing
get
about
around them.
Kamala when I
But it
lived in
turned out that the
California in the
electric
Bay
vehicles
Area
performed
when
quite
she was,
well in those adverse
rising up
conditions. And so,
in her
Mr. Chair,
position.
if I could,
And
let me
even
introduce this
then, like in the
article from
fucking
Kelly Blue
80s
Book,
and
I-95
90s,
traffic nightmare. What if you were
they
stuck
were
in an electric
dragging
car for
her
24
and,
hours into the
implying all sorts of
Without
untoward shit and all this kind of crap. And it's just all coming out again. And I hate it. I hate it. The racism. Yeah. The misogyny. Yeah. Unchanged. I think it's easier for males to miss the lower key misogyny unless they're tuned into it, which would make sense for any human.
Up over 30 miles per
Right?
gallon.
It would make sense for any human to not, like I have been introduced to things that I took for granted were not racist or something, and then someone would point out to me, "Hey, that's racist," and I'd be like, "Holy shit! Now I understand." You know what I mean? So I think you do have that that learning that has to happen for some whatever nuance. I don't want to say nuanced because it doesn't matter. It still has impact.
Obviously, it's going to base largely on the utility
Regular
rates, but I
people
think
in
the
Hanover
working
County,
numbers
Virginia, sure
anywhere
as
from,
fuck.
2/3 less costly
Yeah,
compared to a
that
gallon
racism
equivalent.
out loud. No, and I lived in Florida in Fort Pierce, which is on the ocean side, but north, like south of Daytona Beach and shit. Fucking racist, like Confederate flags. Oh my God. Really frightening. Really fucking frightening. We've come a long way, but I understand for people of color, we have not come far enough, even close. So I say more perfect union, more perfect union. Yeah, right south of St. Augustine, which I love. But Fort Pierce is,
I would say you don't. We should end them.
I had not seen that. Growing up in California, I had not seen that type of, that level of racism, which I realize is,
to the record
endemic.
Of products, it's both the industrial.
You went to,
as well as,
you went to Basic in Orlando. Oren, thank you for your service. A little farm town in Eastern Washington. Yes, that I've heard that. I've heard that.
More than 2 years.
I've heard that.
7 of them.
It is very human, right? It's very human to.
Talking about we've
Oh man, it does blow your mind. Kind of when you see it, because you know it exists, right? I did not know it existed. I knew it existed.
Why is China?
But seeing it up close and personal is really.
It's for central
it's
planning,
very. It's
industrial engineering.
Pretty shocking.
In other countries, correct?
I mean,
is
I
there
guess
any
that's a good
major
thing. It should be
Western
shocking.
country that doesn't subsidize EVs?
But yeah,
because
I
of
don't know.
Climate
It's
alarmism?
oof. I don't know.
How many U.S. automakers
You know, we just
are
don't walk
making
in
money
each other's
producing
shoes.
EVs?
And there's, you know, so
Senator,
it's
as I said
really
in my
good to be
remarks,
humble
We're in the early innings. This is a marathon,
about what
not a sprint.
something
So
might
yes,
mean to
the
someone
costs are
else.
gonna
You know
have
what I
to come
mean?
down.
That's what I try to
losing on
remind
average?
myself of is,
Depends on the manufacturer and their product.
can I just
So
like
why
be
are they
mindful
doing it?
that I don't know how this might
Because they're
impact
getting
someone,
government
you know,
subsidies,
like,
right?
I don't know.
The consumers are being subsidized.
Feels like
and the
feels like
automakers are also
at
being
least a
subsidized,
starting
correct?
point.
And
Used to be
mandate we're
shocking
talking
for
about
maybe a
things like
generation,
cafe
same
standards
places.
that
Yeah.
coerce
Yeah,
them
in some places.
to offer EVs so they
It's
can
just like growing
produce
up in the Bay
vehicles that
Area.
American
I
consumers do
never,
want. I mean,
you know,
I'd
we
never go
didn't,
100% EV.
there were no
Happy to be
Confederate
hybrid,
flags. Let's put it
happy to
that
be
way.
environmental. I want the
You spent a summer
comfort
in Lynchburg,
having
Virginia when I was
an
a
internal
tween
combustion
and was
engine.
shocked at the open.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Senator,
think
as
if
it
you
relates
don't
to
grow up
the-
in an
the
area that
recent
has
auto
that
standards,
level
we've been
or
pretty clear
that
with the Biden
display,
administration.
I should
Obviously, we
say,
need to
because
ensure
it
that
may
there's
have the
alignment
same
as it
level
relates to where
of
the market
racism.
is, as well as encouraging.
No, there won't
I
be
believe the
alignment
more
where the market
racist
is.
they get,
Government's
the
not
more
that smart.
backlash they get in November. Everyone is tired of MAGA. You know, I hope so too. I think you might be right.
We've run the
I
Highway
think
Trust
you might
Fund
be
back
right.
2008 insolvent. We haven't
See, the
fixed
thing
that
is
problem.
people like this
And
guy,
we're gonna have this
Ron
demand economy, and
Moscow
we're gonna
Johnson,
plan for a growth in the electrical grid.
Mr.
By the way,
January 6th,
we don't have the mining capacity.
who's
I would argue
basically
we
a
don't have the
really
electrical capacity.
he's an
Those
insurrectionist
climate
right there.
alarmists are generally
This
opposed to
insurrectionist,
nuclear, which
that
certainly
one?
would be part of the problem. China dominates the battery
they just
industry, and our
they
subsidies
are
providing a
they are
market
basically
for China's
hoping that they're
command economy.
louder
How does
because
any of
they
this make
know they don't
sense?
have the
Senator,
numbers.
with respect, our subsidies are targeted
Grew
to
up
US
insulated in New
manufacturing
England.
of
Another
batteries
thing,
through
right?
45X,
Yeah,
and the
exactly.
consumer EV tax credits are specifically
Yeah.
designed to excise
Different
tax
areas of the
on
country
many consumers have
experience it
experienced the cost of
outwardly,
replacing a
the displays of it in
an
different
EV?
ways.
It's an extremely rare
Mr.
occurrence.
Johnson of Moscow.
Extremely rare occurrence.
It's gonna. They don't last forever, do they?
Neither
How long
does,
do they last?
neither does an internal combustion engine car or transmission.
There you go, bitch.
There are cars on the road from the 30s and 40s and 50s.
Not
How long
that
is
many,
an EV battery
bitch.
gonna last? And what is
With
the cost
new
to
engines,
replace it?
bitch.
EV batteries account for
Sorry, I
anywhere
mean,
from
I'm
30 to
yelling and I
40%
shouldn't
of
be
the
yelling.
upfront costs. Obviously, there's warranty and durability built into those batteries, but yes.
How long do they last?
The battery itself can last quite some time, and then, of course, it can be
How long?
repurposed and reused.
A couple 100,000 miles at least. We've had Teslas on the road with that many miles already.
And it's going to
This is
cost
early, so.
$10,000, $20,000 to replace?
Well, that's the cost today.
What about recycling of them? What about recycling of wind turbines?
Oh, really?
Now, I'm seeing these pictures of these massive
What
dumps
about
of these wind
what about
turbines just
runoff from
collapsing
hog
and-
farms, Mr. Johnson?
Again,
what about runoff from hog
it
farms,
doesn't
Mr.
make
Johnson?
economic sense because government is
What
trying to
what about the
essentially
runoff
plan-
from hog farms,
government's awful
Mr.
at it.
Johnson? Mr.
I just
Johnson?
wanted to pipe in if I could, sir, on battery recycling. Batteries are eminently recyclable and are near
Not
a closed
these,
loop.
not the lithium batteries. We don't have capacity for doing it right now.
Well,
we
actually-
haven't developed
We're building that
a way of
capacity.
doing it.
We are building that capacity, and certainly the U.S. is a leader in the standards.
Kind of like Senator Brown was talking about. Yeah, we have to rely on all these technological innovations.
Johnson
we don't
can't
have
get
yet.
around these guys.
Let's face it, they've been trying to innovate batteries for decades and really haven't been able to do it, have they?
I'm not
No,
sure I
we
would agree
have
with that. The costs
innovated
fallen dramatically.
batteries.
The density has
Yeah,
doubled.
we
in the
started
last,
with potatoes,
9 years
okay?
or 7 years. So battery innovation is dramatic.
Russia has some
and
rare
with
earth
such-
So let
minerals
the
too.
marketplace
Yes, they
dictate
do.
the speed of this
Do you recycle your
innovation.
pop can?
Stop subsidizing this. That's my only point. I'm not opposed to it, but I'm opposed to
Come on,
government intervention in the
Maureen.
marketplace.
I know.
We just
They're
screw
doing
things
it,
up,
man.
and
These
as
guys
Senator
are
Brown
giving
said,
it to 'em.
we
I
can't
love
afford
these
it.
witnesses.
$35 trillion in debt.
I love the
afford all this
disheveled
stuff. Thank you,
crew,
Senator
the
Van
disheveled four.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Five.
Thank all of you
The
for your
disheveled
testimony.
five.
I just make
They're
a couple
wonderful.
points at the outset. When you have a
I live in a
huge,
union state and I
what
drive
economists
past
call
rebel flags.
externality,
Yeah, it's
which
very
is climate
it's
change.
different in different parts
I
of
know
the
some of my
country. I'm
colleagues
telling
don't
you.
really believe
It's the
in
displays of
that,
racism. It's not the level of
as a
racism.
threat,
it's the
but that is
display.
exactly where you want
How it
government
is
action.
how
I
it is
also heard Senator
displayed.
Graham at the outset talk about how China will potentially, and is right now, on a road, if we don't do something about it, to eat our lunch.
Johnson the yard
reality
gnome.
is countries around the world, consumers around the world are going to be purchasing electric vehicles. And either we're at the top
this
of our
guy's
game,
hot. This
or
guy's
we're gonna
kind of
be,
gives me the hots.
left
You know what I mean?
dramatically
Because like
behind.
a few years,
That's why
10
I'm
years ago,
pleased
this
that
guy was a
Maryland,
fucking
is
stud,
one of the states
stud
that has set
muffin.
very ambitious goals in terms of EVs.
But he's still smart,
for
and that you know how that you know how I am about smart
and
guys.
we're one of 15 states that have
I get
committed
real
to ramp
I get
up
real
the
crushy when it comes to
electrification of
smart
medium
guys.
and heavy-duty trucks.
We have a few
so that
militia
all
alleys.
sales,
Michigan,
of those
hells to the
vehicles
yeah.
are zero emission by
Solar powered
2050.
crabs are better.
There's been lots of evidence of the health benefits
Probably less
of this.
mercury.
The Rocky Mountain Institute estimates that
Oren, I
among the
almost
15
missed your
states
copy as
that,
manifest
along with
comment.
Maryland,
Oh
are
my God.
participating in this effort,
Thank heavens.
they will see
Thank the earth.
fewer
My 2016
premature
battery is
deaths,
losing life. It
477
won't be most effective to
fewer
power my
premature
car, but it
deaths and
can
over
be repurposed for a
6,000
myriad
fewer
uses.
asthma incidents per
Right?
year.
I'm telling you,
And
I
that's
just
3.5
love
billion
that
a year.
finally
And
we
that's,
see a
on top of
pushback
the
against
climate
the
benefits. I think
fucking
it's important to point out
bullshit
colleagues
narratives
that
that
while,
Johnson and
heavy-duty
his ilk
trucks,
try to
medium
push.
and medium
So
trucks
I'm just grateful.
account for only 10% of vehicles on
8
the
years,
road. They
8
produce
years.
about a quarter.
8-year battery, yeah. I mean, I don't think I've had batteries last more than 10
One of
years.
the challenges that Volvo,
Car batteries?
which is a company in Hagerstown,
Right.
Maryland, is facing, and they developed the powertrain manufacturing, the powertrains. They have a facility there. One of the issues they have there is the
everything
issue
happens
of
in Hagerstown.
charging infrastructure for medium and heavy.
Nothing good comes out of
trucks.
Hagerstown.
So,
I'm
Ms.
sorry.
Gross,
Sorry,
could
Hagerstown.
you briefly describe some of the challenges we're facing in this particular sector and what we should be doing about it?
Thank you, Senator, for that question.
3 years.
Let me
Thank you,
focus on the
Spotman.
solutions
Jesus,
first,
I
and then
didn't
I'll
think
go to
they
maybe
lasted that
recap on some
long.
of the challenges. The most important thing that we can do in this sector for the heavy duty, medium duty sector is to get pilot programs out there. It is amazing what fleet operators learn by just
I think regular car batteries.
purchasing and putting into their fleet the first 1-2 trucks, understanding what the relationship has to be with the
I'm
utility.
digging Britta,
understanding
man.
what charging is, how it works, what it means to discuss rates and off-peak times and on-peak
She is
times.
fucking
And what
awesome.
the economic opportunities are to actually work with the utility on those rates. So the fleet, this idea that we need to continue pilot programs is really alive. It's not the
Oh,
ones
an
that have
EV
already
battery.
started,
Edward,
but
was it an
every
EV
fleet
battery?
in the
Or
country should
Cam?
start to understand
Call you Cam.
what it would mean to actually have that experience behind you. Once you have that experience, you make better decisions about right-sizing charging and right-sizing the grid requirements for it.
Oh, regular
We need
car
to
batteries last
prioritize
3
feeders.
years. Okay.
Where are these truckloads likely to show up? So we've got
And
the
Cam, you
map,
said your EV
out
battery?
there
Yeah,
that
EV.
describes and shows you visually where the
That's
the
really,
loads are
that seems
expected
pretty
to come from.
good.
We've got Volvo data, Daimler truck data. We know we have the telemetry. We know where the diesel.
And I think
vehicles
that
travel throughout the
fatigue thing
country.
about
So being able to
truckers,
prioritize
that's
where they are
huge.
today and where they're likely to be when they're
That's
electric
huge.
is super important for prioritizing these investments on the grid. And then finally, one interesting thing is we are kind of going about
thinking
this
of costs on an
piecemeal
8-year
today.
gasoline vehicle.
This
Oh
holds
my
true for
God,
light-duty
yeah.
vehicles as well,
Jesus,
but on the medium and
the oil
heavy-duty
change,
trucking sector,
everything,
where these
yearly
loads can be
maintenance,
very
insurance.
concentrated on local distribution systems. We wait, the utility industry can really only invest.
It's working
once
just fine. I still
a
get about
customer
70%
shows
of
up and
my
says, "Hey, I've got
original
this load
range, and I
coming.
only have to charge every
Can
other
you
day. That's
please,
actually not, I mean, once you get
upgrade
into the
grid for
rhythm
me?
of it, I'm
coming
sure
with
it's
this charging
great.
load." If
Like,
we
I'm
would
sure it's no
step back and
problem,
consider,
right?
in its totality, how much load is coming when more fleets, 20%, 40%, 80%, we could do a better job up front, more cost-effective job of putting these solutions in place.
God,
And
I
so
love smart people.
I would
Fucking love
encourage,
smart
everyone to
people.
focus on
Fuck.
sort of those big nuances about the trucking sector that are important. And this whole timing mismatch, I know that that's on top of mind for Volvo as well. The timing mismatch between the time it takes to get grid power to a site versus the time it takes to order a few semi-trucks. And I said in my testimony earlier, I can order a fleet of semi-electric trucks and they can be delivered in 4 to 6 months. And the grid upgrades probably can't be made in those same 4 to 6 months. So we've got to get we got to get ahead of this challenge.
Well, so this is the issue. I mean,
grid, the
Volvo
grid,
is
the
actually
grid.
losing orders right now from people that want to,
Look at the
purchase
golden
these,
chairs they have. This kind of apparent
medium heavy-duty
expertise
trucks,
is
but
what
can't
these
because of
hearings
this,
should be. I
issue of charging
know.
stations. So I hope we will,
I
on a
know.
relatively urgent basis, move forward. I mean, this is the sort of
It's
chicken
so
and the egg problem we've
true.
seen,
Why can't
in
we
other
have
parts of this sector.
conversations like this?
I may have some questions to submit for the record, but I see my time is out. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Van Hollen, Senator Graham and I spoke earlier about trying to pull together some bipartisan technical recommendations for facilitating the transition in a whole variety of ways, things like supporting peak shaving, and this would be another good example. So look forward to working
Let's make
with
it
you
exciting.
on that. Thank you very much for your interest. And now we turn to Senator Kennedy.
I've got an economic as fuck 2016 Kia Soul, bitch.
Witnesses. I'm sorry I was late. I was in another committee.
You better have the hot lights on it, or I don't even want to talk to you. Oh, wait, it's time for Foghorn
How many of you
Leghorn.
drive an
It's
electric
time for
car?
Foghorn Leghorn. How do you drive an electric
gentlemen
car? How many
If
of
you mean electric by a battery electric, no. If you mean plug-in electric, yes.
Okay. Of the three folks who raised their hands, how many do you own gasoline-powered cars?
Oh my God! Do you remember back
Senator.
when you used to make out on the back of the Mustang? What was it like?
let me
Can
ask
you
you
tell me
all
what
this,
it
and
was
please give me a
like
brief answer,
when you made
because
out on the back of your
there are 5 of
gas-powered
them, there's only one of
vehicle?
me. Okay. If electric cars are so swell, how come we have to pay people to drive them?
Oh my God, because they're expensive to
Upfront
make.
costs of an electric vehicle
Foghorn.
are about $10,000 higher today than they are for an equivalent internal combustion
they're more
engine vehicle
expensive. Anything
today,
else?
but that cost is declining substantially. And so this is a temporary intervention to help the auto industry strategically compete
Yeah.
in global markets and to
It's
transition
kinda-
as battery
kinda
costs fall.
straightforward.
Admonition, okay.
Sorry.
Doc, how about if electric vehicles are so swell, how come we have to pay people to
So
drive?
swell. If they're so swell.
I think sorry, Senator, I'll step
I'm
away
sorry,
from.
I can't see the names.
Oh, it's Gross, Ms. Gross here. I'll defer to not comment on policy questions about incentives and so on. Maybe
Tell
pass
me
it
your
off
name.
to
I
Ms.
can't
Hinman.
see your name tag.
What the fuck is he
Gross?
saying?
I can switch.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I can swivel it.
Can you read? Oh
Would
my
you start
fucking
over?
God.
I was just going to say I'd like to defer on policy grounds, not to talk about policy incentives and so on. Defer over to my
Why not?
colleague here, Ms. Hinman.
You don't believe in electric cars?
Oh, totally support electric vehicles and drive 3 of them myself.
So if they're so swell, how come we're having to pay people to drive them?
So just speaking personally, then, not representing my company at this point.
Sure.
Speaking personally.
Who's your company?
EPRI, the Electric Power Research Institute.
Oh, okay.
And I have to be careful about policy stepping into, wading too deeply into policy as an independent leader here. But when we think about, again, I just want to ditto what Dr. Jenkins said. This is an effort to compete
Yes,
globally.
ma'am, I know all that, but how, if they're so swell, how come we have to pay people to drive them?
Because they're expensive to
maybe
make
then the
right
quick
now.
answer for me is I didn't take advantage of incentives, but I also bought used vehicles on the market. I love it. They're wonderful to drive. And so on.
Okay.
Senator, similar for myself.
say,
we
what's your
purchased Maureen Hinman.
Damn.
My hair's longer in my picture. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I don't even know who I'm talking to. Go ahead, Ms. Hinman.
Fucking asshole.
I did want to follow up with my colleague, Ms. Gross. I purchased my first EV, fully
Yes,
electric.
ma'am. But
in
if they're so
2015.
swell, how come we have to pay people to drive?
Well, I purchased. I can only speak for myself, but we purchased our first vehicle in 2015 because it was easier to charge, cheaper to drive. It drives better, faster, smoother. There's no muck on the bottom of our garage. And frankly, when I had my first child, some of the safety features were just better.
But here's what I'm sorry, you're not answering my question. How many vehicles, how many cars
No, he didn't.
do we have?
He
in the
just showed
United
up.
States?
Like he fucking.
280.
This lady right here, in the middle. I'm sorry, if I could see your name, I wouldn't just point to you.
If I could, I'd like to defer to my colleague who
Well,
has
I'd like
better.
to hear your answer, okay?
How many calls?
How many cars are there?
295 million.
Okay, and what percentage are electric vehicles?
1.6.
Okay, hold up that chart. Here's where all electric vehicles are. California loves them. The West Coast
No, he
loves
has a staff. Doesn't
Everybody
he have
else
a
kinda
chicken
looking
hawk
at
to catch?
Okay, I'm trying to understand why.
I guess we're just better than everybody. I don't know.
But let me move on to this. Let me ask these two
California.
gentlemen. I think
What
the
can I
reason
say?
is because they're more expensive, and people when they drive a car like it to run, and when it runs out of electricity, it stops, and they can't find a place to charge.
Because California's
So,
just better
let
and
me ask these
cuter.
two gentlemen. I don't
Because
wanna
we're
be
just
unfair.
cuter. I don't know.
So it's clear we got a long way to go. We got
I have no idea. We like to pay less for our cars. I don't know.
283 million
I don't have an
cars in
electric car,
America,
so I
and
don't
we
know.
got 3.3
I do like he's
million,
making himself look dumb. Yeah,
electric vehicles.
that's true. I mean
got
that.
a long way to go. And at least
Yeah,
these three
that's
folks
exactly
think
it, Peace
that-
Love. It's about
that
it's
we
elder
need
abuse,
to
Kathy.
take taxpayer money and
The
give
Ama-
enough
I
money
mean,
to
this
American
isn't
people
ignorance,
so
Edward.
they'll
Come
walk
on.
away
They're
from
not
gas
ignorant. This
cars
motherfucker
and
knows
drive electric
exactly what he's talking about is
How much is
bullshit.
that gonna cost?
He
I'm gonna
knows
ask him in a
he
second
knows
if I have
he's
time.
peddling shit for the right wing
how much do you
media
think it will
machine.
cost
He is
for
a
us
walking propaganda
basically,
poop shoot.
bribe every American
He
to
poops
drive an
propaganda everywhere he goes. There he is now with his little lower
Senator,
lip.
Excuse me, Dave Sweeter with
Poop
the
and propaganda.
Alliance for Automotive Innovation. I would just underscore your original question with this. There's really two things at play as it relates to what's
How much
happening.
money do you think it'll cost?
And gas prices are higher. Yeah.
Costs
Maybe
are
they're
high.
just smart.
American
Maybe
people
we're smarter
enough
and
to
cuter.
make them drive electric cars to move those numbers.
Again, not me. but,
Electrification's increasing
in
as it relates to
general.
cost. Only a fraction of currently
Louisiana is
eligible
owned by
vehicles
an
are
energy corp.
eligible
That's
for
truly
the
good
federal
point.
tax
Ask
credit.
him why
So-
we subsidize oil. Yeah, right?
Senator, I think I quoted earlier that
Those cables are expensive.
How much
yeah.
do you think it'll cost?
It ultimately depends on
You
consumer
don't
adoption.
know, do you?
We don't have an
Whoa.
exact figure.
You
no,
think we ought
Senator.
to just keep throwing money at it until
No.
we hit the jackpot?
No, baby.
How about you, Mr. Davis?
Look at him. Open mouth.
Eventually, if you
Something's fly
enough
in there
charging
right
stations
now.
doesn't solve for
Fucking
range
give him an
anxiety. The
aneurysm.
reason I didn't
So
buy one is
done.
because I may have to drive.
He called her a
450 miles
ding
to East
dong.
Tennessee.
That's
cost
amazing.
The American taxpayer
Ugh.
for us to
God, these guys
to,
just
to
drive me
convince the
insane.
American people, frankly, bribe the American people to get rid of the gas
Brad?
car and
Who's
drive an electric
Brad?
car.
Tell us
Any of
about
you,
Brad.
can any of you give me a figure?
Senator, the Treasury Department reports we spent about $1 billion year to date. So for the first half of this year, so roughly $2 billion this
Well,
year.
we're behind.
As I noted,
How much do you think it'll cost, Doctor? You're a doctor,
so
right?
$2 billion this year is what the estimate from the Treasury
Okay,
Department.
How much do you think it will cost for us to, let's say, get 75% of these 200?
How much will it cost American consumers to remain?
How much? Do you know how much it'll cost, Doctor?
No one knows the future with
Jesse,
certainty,
give it-
Senator.
Give it
You
to him.
just think we
Give
ought to
it
keep
to
throwing money
him.
at it until
Let
we
him
hit the
have it.
jackpot.
I think we ought to set a stable policy framework that allows
Let
American
'em have it.
consumers to become familiar
Come
with the
on,
environment
Junior.
and American businesses to innovate and to compete within that stable framework. That's what I said
And how
earlier in
much
my
will that
testimony.
cost?
Will cost less than the benefits delivered by
You
the
don't
policy.
care how much it costs, do you?
I care if the benefits exceed the costs. I don't care about the costs.
You
These are
don't care how
investments
much
in the
it
public.
costs, do you?
I
They're
care very much how much
investments.
it costs. As long as the benefits exceed the costs, that's an investment worth making.
Well, so, okay.
How much
So-
does it cost to seed the industries of the future to
I
China?
I get to ask the questions, Doc.
Sorry.
You're at Princeton, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. How are Jewish students doing at Princeton? Are they feeling better?
No, that has
more
nothing to do with the hearing today. I'm
I
not going
didn't
to
think
comment on
you'd
that.
I didn't think you'd want to talk about that.
Oh my God.
Did any of you have any idea how much
Oh
it
my
would cost
fucking God.
Senator,
to get, say, 75% of the
What
American
the fuck
people
just happened?
Senator, if
driving electric cars?
if I could, your question is fair. One
in the
answer
fuck
to it is
just
the cost
happened?
of inaction of the U.S. not competing is far greater than any incentive on the front
Okay,
end.
quantify that for me. Oh, man, I'm way over. I'm
Where is
sorry,
the
Sheldon.
fucking shame?
Quantify that for me, because here's my
Where's the
Why don't you wrap
fucking
up with
shame
this,
in any
because
of
I
these
think
people?
Everybody's had a chance to try to
I will.
answer your question, and
Here's
you're
my
repeating
problem.
it at this
Okay,
point.
we all want
Yeah.
clean air. We all
I
want
don't
bright water.
understand.
We all want to
I don't understand how this is even okay. Like, why wouldn't the chairman at that point
but there
go,
are
no,
trade-offs
no, no,
in
no,
all
we're
of
not doing
this.
that. What the fuck?
Despite what the Princeton professor thinks, we don't have unlimited money.
I know.
not
I know.
Princeton. So we have to decide
Wow.
the cost and the benefits. And nobody
Oh, my
seems to be able to
God.
quantify the costs. They just say, keep throwing money at it. Throwing
No,
money
they
at it, throwing
don't.
money
They
at it.
actually have been
And nobody
talking
can
about
really
the benefits
quantify the
specifically
benefits,
this
except
entire hearing.
if we don't do
Where have
it,
you been, you racist, bigot,
then we're all gonna
fucking fucker?
And when I go back to my people and say, your electricity costs have gone up 30%, but it's for a good cause. Why, Kennedy? Because you're going to die if we don't do it. Why, Kennedy? Because a professor at Princeton says so. That doesn't work for most Americans. Can you answer that for me? You see my frustration.
No, I
love
don't.
driving an
I
electric
see
car. I
a
think they're
Russian
really cool.
asset
But
trying
the
to
median
fucking
household
fuck
income in my
with
state's
democracy.
$55,000.
That's what I see.
Our
Bitch.
Princeton professor
I
probably
see a
makes that
man
in a
who
week.
should be Kissinger
Okay?
at this
They
point.
They don't care what they think at Princeton. Oh my God! Can you answer that?
Where is Sheldon?
I can't answer how much it's going
Good.
to cost, but I can tell you that just last year alone, China in the EV market subsidized it by $12.4 billion, and that's their annual spend. It's more than, even with in our best year, it's more than
And
two-thirds of the
China's
United
doing
States
great,
spends.
but let me ask you a question. How much will it cost China to become carbon neutral by 2050?
Damn, I just can't.
I am
I
very
don't even
concerned.
know.
Well, they won't.
I
but
don't even.
I'm more
I don't
concerned
know
about
even why I'm
the
shocked.
risk to the U.S. economy of losing the auto manufacturing
How much would it
industry.
cost them? Do you know? See, nobody talks about the cost. I'll tell you how much it'll cost them. It'll cost them $1 trillion a year starting today.
Yeah, maybe if
to
he
be carbon
explained
neutral
it
by 2050.
with words.
You know how much it'll cost Russia? $250 billion a year.
Oh.
3 times what their defense budget.
Oh, how do you know so much about
Now,
their
if
numbers?
you believe that Vladimir Putin is going to spend $250 billion for climate change, then you'll never own your own home. So we go spend all this money, which y'all can't quantify. We just keep spending. They don't spend the money. They're at an advantage, and you know how much world temperatures are lowered? None. Zero, zilch, nada.
So what should we do?
And I can't believe our chairman hadn't cut me off. But I am done.
Now's your moment. Thank you,
I am
Senator
done.
Kennedy,
Wow,
for your
I don't really
enthusiastic
fucking understand
participation in
this.
hearing.
And
just wish we
Sheldon,
had
I don't
time to
fucking
talk about
understand
all this. I
you.
think this is
Wrap up.
fascinating.
I don't fucking
with a
understand how
couple
you
of,
allow that to happen, Sheldon
clarifications.
Whitehouse. Fuck you.
First of all, the word mandate has come up repeatedly during this hearing, and I just want to make sure everybody understands there is no mandate. What there is a tax incentive. And for those of us who believe in traditional economic policy,
I hate this place.
what the tax incentive is there to do is to offset the
I hate
negative
this place.
externality of all of the pollution that comes out of an internal combustion engine that society at large pays for, but is not baked into the price of the vehicle. And you can go all the way to Milton Friedman to get the economic theory that supports that. Second,
Cut himself off.
EVs have been more expensive than internal combustion engines, largely because of a market decision by the electronic vehicle innovators to come in at the high end of the market. Because Tesla, for instance, could compete with Maserati and Lamborghini on performance. And so, of course, they came in at the high end of the market, particularly when you're starting with small initial manufacturing runs. But as the market has grown, costs are now coming down to where it's maybe $1,000, $2,000 difference between the average EV cost and the average internal combustion engine cost, just around $50,000 in each case.
Whatever.
There are available electronic vehicles that are less
an old
expensive
lady
than
on the
the
internet.
average internal combustion engine now.
Question: you can
So
only
depending on what
get
you wanna
that
choose,
credit
if you want to
if
go and
you
compete
know
with Maseratis, you
and
can go to
use
the
it
high
when
end, but they're
doing your taxes.
also
I don't know how that
cheaper
one
than
works,
average
Peace Love. That's a
internal
great
combustion
question.
electric vehicle options.
It's a good question.
And the last thing I'll point out is that while tire emissions are obviously real, and tire emissions are greater from an electric vehicle than an internal combustion vehicle because the electric vehicle is A, heavier because of the battery, and B, higher performance because it's higher performance. So you have more tire wear, and that creates some additional measure of tire wear-related pollution. To complain about that in the context of tailpipe pollution and tailpipe emissions calls to mind the old biblical verse about the mote in your own eye, or the mote in your brother's eye compared to the beam in your own eye. The beam here is tailpipe emissions, which pollute enormously and create massive climate risk. And I agree that tire emissions need to be dealt with, but if you put them to scale and compare their hazard for humankind and for local health, it's moat versus beam. So with that, let me say the questions for the record are due by noon tomorrow with signed hard copies delivered to the committee clerk.
Thank you, Sheldon.
In Dirksen 624.
That was kind of weird, but okay. Okay, sir. Wow. Well, thank you, Paul J., my darling friend, for bringing that to our attention. I sincerely appreciate that. I didn't know it was hearing. So I'm really, I should have gone with the Old Testament, but yeah. Any psalm in a storm? No. No, I couldn't think of any kind of like, any book in a storm. No, I don't know. I don't know which one. I don't know what to say. Yeah, that was interesting. Oh boy, I know. Interesting hearing. It was a very, very interesting hearing, and I learned a lot more about the electronic vehicle industry than I knew before. So I'm so grateful, because it is something that we should know. It's natural for any technology. Thank you, Cam. This is worth saying. Definitely agree with this. It's natural for any technology to start out at an almost exclusively high price, only to become more affordable as the market becomes saturated. That's right. And manufacturing becomes more efficient. Absolutely. I mean, it is kind of like just the way supply and demand works and, blah, blah, blah. And market capitalism, it's just kind of market capitalism. Yeah, it's weird, but kind of maybe got the point across to evangelicals. Maybe. Oh, the Bible verse. Yes. I blame Newt. Yep. For getting rid of the Office of Science and Technology, but that used to inform members of Congress. Oh, yeah, I thought they still had that. Oh, my God. Stop reasoning with the unreasoned. Yeah. Or the unreasonable. My dad paid $700 for a VCR I know, remember? I remember that, Carla. I mean, I don't remember that, but I remember they were expensive. They were expensive. So yeah, every technology starts out. This is what happens when you innovate. And it sounds to me like the people that were testifying today had a fairly good handle on what the cost-benefit analysis was going to be. So even though they couldn't pinpoint a particular cost, for whatever reason, their questions weren't, satisfactorily answered to them. It's still, they could it seemingly quantify enough that it sounded quite thoughtful, I thought, about the technology and what the barriers were and what the challenges were and what the opportunities were and all that other corporate bullshit. So I could definitely see that. Look at the cost of big screen TVs. I know. One at Sam's Club for $300. I know. Yeah. So this is another losing battle, propped up by people who don't want us to have nice things, like Mr. Kennedy there. And that no more. No. I really enjoyed that. I very much enjoyed that hearing, actually. So thank you for that again, Paul. All right. So today's Wednesday. I believe Jim is having a space tonight, so I will be on that space. Remember when I know, right? They practically cost nothing at all now. And wait, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, so tonight, hopefully a space with Jim, and then tomorrow morning, Wake and Bake, same time, same channel. And then I got to do some gaming and I got to do some reading. Hello, we're still reading a book. I know you don't remember, but we are still reading a book. And we've got to get back to it. I don't even remember where we left off, although I rarely remember where we left off, even if I did it the night before. So, this is the way my brain works. So, yeah. You were typing at the same time, exactly. You can get a cell phone. I know. Well, next to nothing. I mean, they're still kind of expensive. But that's the other thing, addressing slave labor. In fact, that I am willing to spend more. If you want jobs to be domestically, I'm fine with spending. Actually, I'm fine with spending more so that anybody anywhere in the world can get a living wage, frankly. As long as they make it easy to afford, payments or something. You're missing homework? No, absolutely not. Executive and deputy just discussed setting up covert action wing. What? Oh, wait, what? A cheap phone still does everything. I know. Actually, you're right. Look at the track phone. Look at the jitterbug. Look at the jitterbug. It's doing amazing things with big buttons. In the book. Oh yeah, executive and deputy just discussed setting up covert. Yes. That's where we left off. I remember now. I remember. Post kidnapping, right? That's right. I'll try and refresh my memory before. I was a late adopter. I finally got a cell phone when it became cheaper than the landline. Also needed landline to buzz people into the building. Oh, bleh. Yeah. Damn. Your first new car was 3809. Wow. Jim, we're so old. No, I'm just kidding. Kim Stanley Robinson's The Ministry for Future. Oh, yeah. Oren, I'm so sorry. That's right. What book? The Ministry for the Future. It's a science fiction book about climate crisis in the world and what is going to be done about it. And it's a very good book by Kim Stanley Robinson, who's an acclaimed science fiction writer and smart dude. So, yeah, wearing Biden-Harris t-shirt from 2020. Nice. But you can catch up with the Ministry for the Future on the Ministry for the Future Bedtime with Lolo playlist, which is on my channel at Real Lolo, or the one you're actually watching. So you can actually catch up with the first 20 some odd chapters, which they're very short, by watching the playlist, the Ministry for the Future Bedtime with Lolo. So you can, it is available where you get all your Lolo shit. Get all the Lolo, the down low. Thank you for coming this morning. I really appreciate it. It's so nice. We had this time together just to have a laugh or low prices. Sing a song. Seems we just get started and before you know it comes the time we have to say so long. Doodly-doo-doo, doodly-doo-doo-doo. All right, my loves. I will see you, hopefully hear you tonight, and I will see you tomorrow morning. Have a wonderful Wednesday. Happy hump day. Go out there and get to humping. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. You have a great group of people. We have the best group of people. Oh, Oren, welcome. You are so part of this. Like literally, this is like the best group of people on the internet. And I know what's out there. That's for goddamn sure. Okay.